It is Monday at noon, which means it is time to rescue those rosters, not roster those rescues.
It's time to
Rescue your
roster.
roster for the rescues. Other R words. Rich, how was your weekend, man?
Oh, it's swell. Did a lot of stuff. It was long. I drank more than I thought I was because I'm a casual drinker, and I ended up drinking, a little bit more than I thought it was. But hey, God bless America.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pete, how was your weekend, buddy?
Doing great. Mariners finally won yesterday after a long losing streak. George Kirby, 14 strikeouts.
There you go. The
Pretty
big
awesome.
dumper is he's been crushing.
Oh, sorry.
Well, pretty good stuff. All right. Well, we have a lot to get to. Today.
Yes.
We've got plenty of rosters to rescue, plenty of questions to answer. People in the chat saying, I am so excited to hear you talk about the direction I should take my team. So, Pete, what do we got to start us off today? Oh, right off the rip,
Daniel. Yep.
We've got a little nuke action here to go to. So this is a 1 QB PPR league. Yep. And right now we are the 4th ranked team dynasty wise. So we have Jaden Daniels, Bryce Young, Devon Achane, Tyler Algier, Antonio Gibson, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Legette, Cedric Tillman, Demario Douglas. And then tight ends, we've got TJ Hawkinson, Ben Sinnott, pick wise 103, 106, 110, 201. So, Rich, 203, 209. We've got even more second round picks. So, Rich, right now, if my eyes don't deceive me, we've got basically one really good player at each position, but then like nothing behind anybody, right?
That's the way it looks, Garrett. Looks like this is, but he's got a sound foundation of picks. A lot of seconds there will be added to our tight end room there, so not too worried about there. But he's got picks to fill out some of these holes to give us a little bit more juice in this fruit. And this is a flowering fruit because this looks delicious. This is a good foundation. This isn't a team that we're like, oh, we need to blow it up. And I love that he has multiple 26 first because it's going to really feed into helping us kind of get over the line when we're going to need help and see what happens with that second first round pick. Because we already know at 1-3 we're getting Trevion Henderson. So it's like,
yes, sir.
He's actually thinking about Hunter at 103.
Can we go back down? If that's who he wants, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, that's a good thing to know. If he wants Hunter, like I'm totally cool with that too. If that's the way you want to roll. I'm fine with that. Did he tell you that, Pete? That's the way he wants.
Yeah.
To
so I'm thinking we set up a mock draft for this.
Yes, sir.
But he's thinking Hunter at 103, Harvey at 106, Scattaboo at 110, Besh at 201, and Williams/Bryant at 203. And then a couple others.
It's all laid out, huh? It's all
but
laid out.
He'll want to see what we.
No, we'll see. I mean, because it's fun. Like he needs running back help bad. So getting 2 running backs here would definitely be stellar. And that's the thing. Like Garrett, so let's start here at 1-3. Like he wants Hunter. I'm okay with taking Hunter here. Totally okay with taking Hunter. I have no problem whatsoever. Because you would hope, because we'd be looking at 110, we would somehow pray that like a Mecca would fall, but he probably wouldn't. At 110 doesn't really help us. Doesn't help us necessarily this year, but I don't know if like we're going to draft out and just like could we fall into a serious contender this year? Like because the way we draft, definitely, but it's got to all come together, and it's got to be post NFL bye weeks because your starting lineup is what's going to cruise control here.
So real quick, Rich, if we take Hunter at 1-3, which once again, if you are a true believer in Travis Hunter, I have zero issue taking him there. What that would potentially leave us with, though, is at 1-6, more than likely Quinshon Judkins is available at that point. So we could go Travis Hunter, Quinshon Judkins, or you can go Trevion Henderson and see if a receiver like a Travis Hunter or a Ted McMillan's there. Of those options, which do you like to risk it for more?
I think I feel very comfortable with the way he wants to roll with it. His receiving room is really thin. Does he have some upside there with Leggett? Does he have some upside with Cedric Tillman for fantasy production? Yeah, he does. But like
McCaffrey,
I mean, and that's it. Yeah, we'll throw that in there, Pete. Nice package deal for Lad McConkey there. And
having both on this roster kind of hurt.
So, I think it's a safe bet, Garrett. We made the move for Travis Hunter, and I'm totally comfortable. Like you said, like Junkins being there. Worst case, RJ Harvey's there. We're gonna get a running back that we like. Is Trevion Henderson a better running back that we like? For sure. But I feel more comfortable grabbing a receiver here and taking what's left over at running back compared to the running back. Both receivers go after us, and then we're left holding the bag, and we're taking another running back here. And now we have 3 running backs, so we still only have 1 receiver. So
I'll say this though too. I will say this though too, because for me, we all know how I draft. I'm taking whoever truly is the best player on my board. Travis Hunter truly is the best player on your board. I have no problem with that. But if Travion Henderson's the best guy on my board, I'm taking him and I'm letting the chips fall where they may. And I will trade Quinshon Judkins because I promise you there are going to be people that want to be in at the 106. Now, will they have enough to do it? I don't know. But that's going to be a desirable spot for people to trade into, especially if they see the tiers similar to how I see them.
Well, I have Travis Hunter and Trevion Henderson in the same tier. That's who I'm really looking for. Like Hampton's the one too because of the draft capital and the situation he's in. Like I am willing to bend the knee there. That's totally fair. It's a smart play.
Mm-hmm.
Even I would put my money on that. Like Black has come up 30 times in a row. I'm putting my money on Red, and that Red's Aaron Hampton. Mm-hmm. At 1-3, depending on my roster structure, I can go either way. I can go Trevion Henderson or Travis Hunter and feel very good about either player that I get. I mean, Hunter's already looking good in camp already. These are just like basic OTAs. He's already making dazzling plays. Like we've talked in nauseum how much the Jacksonville Jaguars have invested in Travis Hunter. Like he is the face of the franchise. Yes, Brian Thomas is a stud too, but this is the new regime's guy. So I am 100% here. On board with taken. And what's also the reason too, Garrett, is not only do I have them the same tier and I'm comfortable with that, we have so many second round picks. We're going to get some running backs there that we're willing to grab. We're going to like, right? Like,
yeah,
we're going to have a tight end that we like, but there's going to be a Jarquez Hunter there that we like. And I'm really excited to get into this mock draft to see how we can lay a solid foundation with also knowing that we have 2 firsts next year and we could really play with that as well. Cause I'm 100% trading one of those first in season probably to grab a proven player. Like I'm gonna take advantage of some rookie hype and try and get a little younger. I would love to see if I can get Jerry Jeudy right now for one of those first. Whatever one that Daniel thinks is going to be later, which I hope is his. I would love to be able to get like a guy like Jerry Jeudy and come on this and sit with a foundation of Jerry Jeudy, Travis Hunter, and Lad McConkey, and have all my receivers. All 3 starting my receivers are 26 and under to go with Devon Achane and the running back we're going to get here. So let's go ahead and take Travis Hunter here. I feel very good about this pick here with the way our team is structured and the way Daniel's leaning. So
side note, right? Someone in TikTok, we posted a video about Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah,
they traded. It was a 2025 third and a 4th. And in 2026 third for Jerry Jeudy. And they're like, oh, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about the value. I just took
slam dunk.
Yeah, I've been talking about Jeudy now for over 6 months, and the value's there. It's sometimes players are just screaming value, right? And like Jerry Jeudy, like to the point, like we keep mentioning, but you see things like that, Pete, and like people, he's still a value. Like, so we're gonna keep talking about it, why the value's there. Like in Dynasty, that pendulum could swing where all of a sudden like, ooh, he's not worth that much. But right now, Jerry Jeudy, like if you can get him for a first, that is an amazing value. If you're a contender, a first and second, it's still very fair value. I know it sounds crazy to say it out loud to some people that overvalue draft picks. A late first and late second for a 26-year-old number 1 wide receiver on a team that's come on their first wide receiver 1 year is great value. So that's a move I'm thinking of. But here we are at 1-6, Garrett.
Real quick before we get to 1-6, because I think we know the direction we're going to go. Travis asked a good question. Do we think that we don't think that Travis Hunter is going to surpass Brian Thomas Jr., right? And then what I'll say to that is, would I project that after seeing what he did as a rookie? I'm not expecting that to happen, especially early on. But we see it happen all the time. Remember, the Niners still took Brandon Ayuk in the first round after having Deebo Samuel have a great rookie year. The Bengals still took Jamar Chase in the first round after seeing T. Higgins have a really good year. They said, like, these types of things do happen. So I'm not going to rule it out. Travis Hunter has all the tools to be a great wide receiver, but we've already seen it from Brian Thomas. So my money would still be on Brian Thomas to be the more fantasy relevant guy, especially short term. But I'm also not ruling it out.
Yeah, I think they're both safe players is the best way to put it. Like, listen, one's going to hurt the other, right? Like, there's only so many targets going around. There's only so many yards to go around in Jacksonville. One's going to hurt the other. And that's why I said before, like, what Brian Thomas was kind of a sell right after the draft point was, I still think Brian Thomas is an elite receiver, but, you know, he was just wide receiver 4 overall. The odds of him doing that again now with Travis Hunter on the same team are much slimmer. With Travis Hunter being there. Now, could they both be wide receiver 1s? 100%, right? Like, we can see like a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle kind of situation. Like, that's completely plausible. And, you know, but at the same time, if they're both like low end wide receiver 1s, high end wide receiver 2s, those are still championship caliber players. And I feel comfortable having both of those guys. No difference. Like I said, if you have Jalen Waddle on your roster, you're not upset about it. If you have T. Higgins on your roster, you're not upset about it. You know, I'm excited to see what Trey Harris can do with Ladd McConkey. So there's going to be tons of situations where we see definitely in today's NFL where there is 2 solid receivers on a team. How does that play out? You know, we saw, I think AJ Brown, Devontae Smith were both wide receiver 1s. And if you look back historically at finishes, I think if you go over the last 15 years, maybe go back 12, you'll see almost every year, almost, Garrett, like it's really close to it, if not like where there's multiple wide receiver 1s from the same team, right? Like it happens. It's very plausible. And it really comes down to like points per game. And if your receiver who's wide receiver 14 is his points per game is pretty close to wide receiver 9, you still have a championship caliber player. And that's what we're looking for. And Travis Hunter, to me, with his skill set, with what they have invested, is going to be dangerous for defense, you know, for defenses to manage. And it's going to be great for Trevor Lawrence. And you hope that the start, they're going to put the number 1 cornerback on Brian Thomas, which is going to help a guy like Travis Hunter. So could he pass him up? For sure. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely possible. But at the same time, if one's wide receiver 9, one's wide receiver 14, like, and it flips your year, you're in a good spot either way. I don't think it's something you should be weighing. Like, do I want both of my roster? No. You know, I don't want to do that and put all my hope and luck in Trevor Lawrence's hands on a week-to-week basis. But like, I feel very comfortable having both of those guys as my number 1 guy on my team going into 2025, I guess.
What's the likeliness on them both being a wide receiver 1 at the same time in the next 3 years?
7.
I'm going to go 5. It's tough to do and tough to pick out which ones it'll be. So I'll go 5.
They're just so young and they're so talented. I could just if Jacksonville's defense isn't as great,
that's a good question.
Under Ladd's a really good question. I would still lean Ladd. And the reason I would
the guy who did it.
Yeah, I want the guy who did it, who they're boasting about. Like, I just saw an interview with Ladd McConkey, I think last week, and he was talking about, man, like I learned so much last year, and now I have this full off season where me and Justin are going to have like this rapport is going to grow. And looking back at the tape, man, there's a ton of stuff that we missed that we could make a little bit better. Like, that's going to get better. Like, that's going to be, and he's still the guy there, right? We know what they want to do on the outside. They want to take the top of the defense. They tried to get that with Quentin Johnston. They again did. So they take Trey Harris in the second round. I'm taking Ladd McConkey. I am still all in on Ladd McConkey to the point where, like, he was a wide receiver 1 last year. I would bet the house he's a wide receiver 1 this year. He's the next, if we're going to do it how like a lot of people in the mainstream media do it, he's the next Cooper Kupp.
Just your lunch pail.
Okay, white guy.
1.
Yeah, it happened to white guy. So,
all right.
So Judkins here.
We're taking Quinshawn, right? No question about it.
And it goes to show you, like, there's a good chance if you believe in a Mecca Buka like I do, if you want to go Trevian Henderson, you could probably get a Mecca Buka there if you want. But I guess I would rather have Travis Hunter.
I think this is a great scenario for us
Yes.
because I love getting Caleb Johnson here.
Love it, dude.
At
I'm
110. I think that's a
it.
great value.
And we just and that's what I was talking about, like the how we're gonna fix that. Like that's why I like taking Travis Hunter first, because we're gonna get such good value. We're gonna see as these picks come along at running back. We only had that one running back in Devon A-Chain for the most part. We're gonna fix that problem right away with this draft capital. And now, like that 26th first, we could focus on that 26th first of being a wide receiver to go get. And honestly, if the right situation occurs, we might well use both those first.
For the right deal, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So Caleb Johnson.
How often do you see like Tyler Warren go in like a non-tight end premium one quarterback league? Do you usually see one of these guys go
it's
here?
very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their draft capital is getting people really excited. We're in an industry league now where like I'm seeing some weird picks, like Will Howard, Shedeur Sanders still get they're like Shedur's getting. I don't know what's going on, but lately over the last 3 weeks, like Shedeur Sanders ADP from the drafts I've been in has like skyrocketed, and
it is crazy.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Anyway, so we have 2-1,
and we have 2-3, which is amazing because I want 2 of these next 3 players.
And
I don't really care.
Yep.
So I feel okay. This is tough because I really want Jaden Higgins here. Is who I want, and we just took 2 running backs. But at the same time, I'm very comfortable getting Jack Besh as well and just taking. So like, I don't think Cam
Scatterboo to make sure you get a running back
to make sure we
take whatever receiver is left.
Yeah, because I really want Jaden Higgins here. But again, I'm totally comfortable with Jack Besh. Like I really am. So either way, which way would you go? Is that what you're thinking, Garrett? Too?
That's what I was thinking. I'm gonna put a little bit of gamesmanship because I want 2 of these 3 guys. I would love it to be 1 running back and 1 receiver. So I think we take the running back first, even though I think in a different scenario, I'm taking Higgins and Besh probably over Scatterboo. It would be close, but because of our situation, I think we had a little gamesmanship. Go Scatterboo, then take the receiver.
So what do you think? Hold on, before you hit the draft line. So we just took Caleb Johnson. We just took Quinshon Judkins and Travis Hunter. So that gives us Devon A-Chain, Caleb Johnson, Quinshon Judkins. I feel really good about that, right? Really good about that. We have Travis Hunter and Lad McConkey. Then we got the upside, like I said, Xavier Legette and Cedric Tillman.
And then A-Chan is here too.
So my question, Garrett, is with the 3 running backs we have now, they're all 3 young guys. We have the extra draft capital. Are we serving Daniel better? Like if Cam Scatterboo's like, say all those guys start. Quinshon started 100%, and say Caleb Johnson starts, which we predict him to start. We're not really going to start Scatterboo most likely over any of those guys.
That's fair. I would have no problem going receiver there. For me, all of those 3 receivers all 3 of those players are identical value to me pretty much. I like the receivers slightly better, but I would have no problem. But honestly, I think the best thing for his team at this point is honestly, if there's the right trade available where somebody really likes these guys, like I'm starting to look at, you mentioned Jerry Jeudy. Could I get Jerry Jeudy for 2-1? Like I would like to see if that's a possibility. Could I get,
I would offer Jerry Jeudy and I would offer 2-1 and that late second we have. We have like 2-11, 2-12, I believe too.
209, 211.
2-11. I'd offer 2-01 and 2-11 here. And hoping somebody gets, and honestly, if somebody's like, dude, I need a little bit more, I'd honestly offer my second next year, having 2 first as well, and offer 3 seconds for Jeudy there.
I have no issue with that at all. Terry McLaurin would kind of fall into that same type
First name that popped in my head, dude. First name that popped in my head.
Yep.
You're, and that's right. So Daniel, if you're watching, that's 100, which you are. That's the first move. It's kind of hard to sit here in a vacuum and just say, hey, we're gonna make that move. That's the first move you do want to do. You want to see if you can take 201 and find a receiver, preferably Jeudy because he's a little bit younger, or a proven guy because now we feel way more comfortable there. Say that doesn't come to fruition, though, which we can't predict. I would love to make that happen. Are you going Scatterboo here and just taking the best player on our board, or do you like the idea of taking Higgins to make sure we get him right? To make sure we get Higgins, and then if Scatterboo falls, sweet. If he doesn't, because I still think after this, there's still going to be some running back value there.
Yeah, I have no problem with any of those three. So whatever player you want to take at 2-1, I'm just happy we're going to get 2 of these 3 guys.
Yeah.
So I'm good with whatever.
Garrett, I think I would lean Jade as much as, again, this is the problem I've had with Scatterboo. As much as I love Scatterboo, there's a lot of question marks there. Like, I believe in the talent 100%. There's a lot of question marks there. Jaden Higgins going to Houston. They just bring in Nick Chubb too, so they're gonna have a really good run game, right? With they have Woody Marks they traded for, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb. Jaden Higgins locked into that number 2 role for the most part. They invested such high draft capital. I mean, his draft capital was so high, he got a fully guaranteed contract in the second round. That's where they're starting to lean for. So, like, I would lean towards the big. Is on a Broncos fans roster. He would be hard to get.
Doesn't he want to get rid of him then?
But listen, Jerry Judy's like kind of like a model player that we're kind of targeting there. Yeah. You kind of get the idea.
It doesn't have to be him. I like Andrew's idea too as well, because he's a player I've targeted because of his value. Jalen Waddle is another guy that if he's available, I think that's a great one that could really skyrocket. So another one where I'll give 2-1 and I'll give some other seconds if I need.
Oh, dude, I'd give higher than I would. Dude, I'd honestly, for Jalen Waddle, I'd give 2-1 and I'd give 2-3.
I would too.
Like, easily if that can get it done. There's really intriguing names here, and the rookie hype is real, right? Like, people really get excited about this, so they're willing to go up a guy like Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle. I think Waddle rebounds this year, personally.
I do too.
I think he's a nice rebound player, so Waddle fit in that category as well. But again, those are moves you want to try and chase. Like, I would love to just cement our third receiver here with a proven younger guy that's under the age of at least 28 or younger. Is what I would like to do with this pick. If not, Garrett, I think I would lean Jaden Higgins. If Cam Scatterboo falls to us then next, so be it. Awesome. If not, we get Jack Bash.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Perfect. So Higgins?
Yeah, it's our most shallow position right now that we need the most of.
All right, then we take Jack Bash.
Okay.
And we're both taking Bash over Burden, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So here's the nice, like, this is the dart throw running back range that's kind of fun. Like, Tootin is a really fun name here. I'm totally good with Kyle Williams as a wide receiver here. Yeah. I think he's a really good option. We could back up our tight end here. Like, there's a lot of like fun dart throw names that I'm not going to argue with at all. But Mason Taylor, honestly, might be the best value of them all.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Only because we have 211. So again, you play what you have. Like, if I didn't have any more picks, I'm taking Mason Taylor here. 100% I'm taking Mason Taylor. But it's not like Terrence Ferguson's that much behind me. And I might still be able to get Mason Taylor, but I'm guaranteed to get one of those guys. Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson. And I'm literally just as they went like 6 or 7 picks apart from each other in the second round. Both went top 15 in the second round. We need one of those guys for sure to get behind Hockenson. And I want one of those for sure. So do we roll the dice here and keep stacking up that wide receiver room and see what hits? Because I'm 100%. I feel way more confident Kyle Williams producing for me this year or long term than I do Bashal Tootin.
I'm good with that because there's a lot of fun dart throws in this area.
Hunter, right? Like at running back when we get 3-1. So let's go Kyle Williams.
Okay.
See who we get back.
Love it.
And see what tight end we get. Perfect.
Ooh, nice. Taylor's still there.
Perfect.
This is perfect.
And that's it. We don't have any thirds.
We don't have any thirds.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So that's a good young wide receiver core. You just added 4 receivers, all of them with round 1 or day 2 draft capital. Because Higgins went round 2. Besh went round. Did he go 2 or 3? Now I'm blanking.
He went 2.
He went round 2.
Yeah. And then Kyle Williams went round 3. So I mean, loving that.
Williams looked good in camp, man. He's been really good getting off the line. He's had a couple of shining moments there, and he's a receiver we really like coming out.
Yep, absolutely. But then you get 2 running backs that both of these guys, I mean, have true 3-down capability, workhorse type roles that they could be getting. So I love this draft for him. If this is how it worked out, I would be thrilled.
Yeah, I think this is a really good foundation, and still have all our picks next year plus extra picks gives us a lot of flexibility here in season. Like, say, Besh, Kyle Williams, Jaden Higgins, like they look good early. So you got to keep in mind, like Nico Collins is the number one there. So we're kind of like we're talking about Travis Hunter, right? Like I like Jaden Higgins, but like that upside of him being like a true wide receiver one, pretty slim, right? So if Higgins looks good early, Besh has a much higher upside, I think, to be a wide receiver one than I think even Higgins. But I think Higgins has a much higher chance. His floor is much safer in my eyes. If you could then package a young guy that you took at 2-1, 2-2 with a first to get a proven young guy, like. Keep that in the back of the mind, like what you spent on that plus the first to get a guy, because those guys might get excited. What are you looking, Pete, at these back end teams?
Yeah, what pick value would you give up for like a Cooper Kupp?
I'm not giving up much for Cooper Kupp, to be honest with you. I mean, he's gonna be 32 years old soon. Coming off back-to-back injury years, I'm just not overly excited. It looks like this team would definitely be able to get rid of him. Like, honestly, I'd probably give that late second.
That 211.
211. Yeah. I think it's the best. I mean, otherwise, like for the team that we have, like, what's the point? Like, what am I throwing? Like, I'd rather just go ahead and gamble on Mason Taylor being a value to me,
because we don't expect to necessarily win the ship this year. This is the year before the push, really.
Yeah, I think next year is our year. I really do.
26.
And I said, with that draft, though, like if everything fell right, where like Jack Besh came in and was like wide receiver 16,
had a McConkey year.
Say McConkey's wide receiver 1 again, and Travis Hunter's like wide receiver, like low end wide receiver 2, like somewhere around there. And with those running backs, like you have a chance to win it this year. Having Jane Daniels is like an X factor. If Hockenson, comes back the way Hockenson is, X factor. Like you have you like Garrett said, you have a true number one at all those positions. Jaden Daniels has a chance to be the number one overall fantasy scorer. Like that's how good he could be this year. Remember they added Debo to that team. So now Terry McLaurin's got to show up, but like he's got the roster where he could be the sneaky compete this year. That's why I'd really be interested in moving off my first whenever that
because I think you're at least making the playoffs. So I'd rather get some pieces that are going to help me for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and look at that. Jalen Waddle might be able to come off that team. Like
and Chris Godwin too, if you wanted
either one, I'd be fine with either one.
Yeah, I'd be really comfortable with Godwin as well.
Because and then in 26, like it's a rebuilding team too. So,
and then what in 26? What I'm really looking at is okay. How did my wide receivers and running backs turn out? If we're disappointed in maybe Quinshawn or Caleb Johnson, maybe I'm using both of those first plus something. I'm going to get Barkley. I'm going to get a big name. Or maybe the running backs did great, but Besh and Higgins both weren't anything. We weren't ever able to make that other trade. So it's really only Hunter and Ladd. Okay, now I'm going after AJ Brown. Okay, now I'm going after those kind of pieces to like put me over the top.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. Oh, another. We've got ourselves another nuke. Go ahead, Pete.
This one is from Will. Let's see. Looking over the notes again. Took over an orphan team and have already turned over most of the roster. Is there any other moves left? Feel like I can compete if the quarterbacks hit and set up for the future. It is a super flex non-tight end premium league.
Okay, so no tight end premium, which definitely something we got to remember there. So quarterback-wise, we have Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and then really nobody else after those two guys. Running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. Wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk, and then a bunch of guys. And then we've got Mr. Brock Bowers, the ultimate equalizer there at tight end. However, we do not have any. Pete, can you look at our picks real quick? Do we not have any picks in 2026 until
we have our fifth
rounder? Okay. So we are kind of forced into a little bit of an all-in type of situation here. We are in 9th in contender mode without our pick next year. So we've got a little bit of work to do, Rich, because without that 26 first, and I don't see a situation where I necessarily want to pursue it back. So we've got to really shore up this wide receiver room to really give this guy a chance.
Yeah. Oh, he's in a tough boat here. He's got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. His running back room is fine. I like his quarterback room a lot. Definitely for being dynasty mode. again, I think JJ McCarthy could be a quarterback one this year. So the receiving room, obviously, you have Brock Bowers, nothing to talk about there. Your receiving room is not good to be nice about it. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, we don't even know how he's going to start the season. You have Christian Kirk in your lineup, and that is a terrible, terrible thing to have in your lineup. Everybody else behind him is, I mean, I'm not even sure Deontay Johnson's 100% going to make the Cleveland roster, let alone being a backup there. So you're in a tough spot, and you're young everywhere, and you're right. Like, he's good enough where like he could probably make the. I don't even know if he can make the playoffs.
Well, here's the part that helps. You look at all of the other teams. There's one dominant team, but then everybody else is not that much different than you.
Yeah,
contender wise.
Yeah. So if this was my team, Garrett, I'm gonna let the season kind of play out. I don't think you're gonna like the way it starts to play out with that receiving court. You need Ayuk to get back as soon as possible to really feel good about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm doing is I'm hoping, no pun intended, I'm hoping Christian McCaffrey and Aaron Jones hit the ground running and really produce. And then I am gonna, and I'm hoping they're doing it like I'm hoping to hold on for like week 4, 5, 6. Like, I don't want my pick to be too high, get rid of them. But I think I'm gonna try and move one of those guys for either a young receiver or like a receiver with upside in 27.
This guy would be an interesting team because he has James Cook, and no one knows what's up with that guy right now. And he does have a bunch of young, talented. I mean, he has Harrison, JSN, Amon-Ra.
So Will, so for this team example, like, he's gonna need running back help, right? And this is like a I'm keeping, like, if everything plays out, this is like a really good target. So I'm glad you found this team, Pete, because Emeka Egbuka, I don't predict to produce a ton in 2025. I really expect him to produce a ton in 2026. Like, I think Emeka Egbuka could be a very nice fantasy asset in 2026. The fact that he won't be producing in 2025 is really going to help you out here, where if Christian McCaffrey does hit like early on, like week 5, right, and he's producing like high-end top 3 fantasy football running backs, I would love to move off Christian McCaffrey, get Emeka Egbuka, and get this guy's like 27 first. Like, I would love to see if I can make that happen. Now, that's asking a lot, but if Christian McCaffrey produces the way he's going to produce, like, I think that's the kind of return you're going to be able to get.
So are you trying to go into a bit more of a rebuild mode then?
I need receiver help badly. And if I have 227 first, like, I could fix my running back room later. Like, because I don't know. I mean, Garrett, I don't see any clear path for us winning it. Like, okay, false, fake. Like, if IU comes back and he's the number 1 guy, which we don't expect to happen, that's your best bet. Or, I mean, honestly, even with this team, dude, like, if I have to, like, if I get a running back, like one of these guys, like we like later, like, so like and a receiver, like, I'd be comfortable moving Jahmyr Gibbs. The problem is, like, he's got some really nice players. His quarterbacks are really nice. Brock Bowers is great, and he's got
that's the part that's going to be tricky. Is I feel like no matter what, he's going to be stuck in the middle because Brock Bowers and Jahmyr Gibbs are not going to let this team be a bottom 2 to 3 team.
No, agree.
So that's where it's going to get really tricky. Is like, even if you go all in this year, will you have enough to go all in? Probably not. But even if you rebuild, are you going to be bad enough to get a bottom pick? So that's where this is really tough. So I'm with you. Like, I am taking a look at players that I wouldn't normally. And I would say, like, specifically my running back room, like, I might be willing to tear my running back room down to the studs, leave everything else. I don't want to really touch my quarterback room. I don't really want to touch Brock Bowers, but I might be willing to tear my running back room down to the studs in order to build up a better team and just kind of eat the loss of a pick this year. It sucks. Maybe you can get it back in a deal with Gibbs if you get lucky. Probably not, though, and just kind of eat it to really just make the overall health of my team a little bit better.
Who's got Trevian Henderson? I would love to pair him up with
that was that guy. This guy right here.
All right.
With James Cook.
Gibbs.
So Henderson,
Ibuka.
He does have 2 2026 first and 2 2027 first. This team does too.
Neither one's ours though, right?
Nick, Kane.
No, we have our 27 first.
Nope.
So okay.
All right, so go back to that team.
Yeah.
If I could give up Gibbs and get Henderson, dude. Okay, Garrett, go back down because he has Marv, right?
Put it in Dynasty mode too, just so we can see the values there, because I think that'll help.
Okay, what's his name? Okay. There you go.
Okay.
I would offer. We got to see the receivers. Please go down a little bit. Yeah. I would love to start with offering him Gibbs for Trevion Henderson and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Gibbs holds.
I would try it. I don't know if it would work.
Probably wouldn't work, but
would you give your 27 second if that was like the thing that was needed to balance it?
If I had to, yeah, I'd feel okay with that.
I would love that move personally.
Yeah.
I would love that move. If that doesn't work, I'd be okay with Henderson and then Emeka Buka and his 27
first. Yeah, that was my second rollout too. I'm totally comfortable with that as well. Knowing that we're still going to be stuck in the middle a little bit here, but like I feel pretty good about Henderson being a fancy asset. So I feel good about that. And then once we do that too, we still know we're moving Christian McCaffrey, right? We still know, like, if we can get this like set up by the end of the year where we have 3 first, like we're going to be in a good spot to like move those first,
because you'll still have young quarterbacks, Brock Bowers, and then some up and coming receivers.
Yeah. And I mean, you just have to, like, your receiving room's so bad. Like, we have to.
Well, what would help too is because we have Waddle, correct? Like, if Waddle does bounce back, all of a sudden you're like, oh, because if it's a JSN and Jalen Waddle, a bounce back Jalen Waddle, now all of a sudden we're looking real good with multiple firsts at our disposal. Obviously, we're going to have to fix the running back room, but Travion already being there gives you kind of a head start. If this guy is like, I'm not interested in Gibbs, I don't want to make a deal, is there another team out there that we could get a similar package from, Pete?
Which is where, because I think that team would feel really good about, like, he's like, he just drafted Jaden Higgins and Emeka Buka. Like, he feels like, yeah, I don't want to give up JSM, but I just drafted a couple guys, like, coming off that, like what we just did with that last nuke, right? How we just bolstered our receiver room. Like, I don't want to give up Emeka Buka or JSN, but like, hey, man, I feel really good about these young guys I just drafted.
Yeah. This guy, I mean, you could attack him with Nick Chubb signing. He has Chase Brown and Joe Mixon.
Yeah. I want a younger running back, though. That's the only issue.
Oh, you want to younger running back? Oh,
yeah, but this guy's not doing it anyways because the receiver we'd want is Drake London, and he would just.
Breece Hall's an interesting name right now.
I think
go back.
That's true. I like that.
What's the receivers looking like?
Nico, Ladd, Devonta, Jaden.
It won't happen.
No,
but if you could get Ladd and Breece, I would love to make that happen.
Yeah, again, we're going to cut.
What about Ladd and Caleb Johnson though?
Does he have Caleb Johnson?
He does.
For Gibbs?
Oh no, he doesn't. That must be the last
he doesn't.
Team. Never mind. My fault.
No.
Okay. Next team.
So it's hard. Like, this is the one partner we found is like, this is a guy has.
Caleb Johnson. Who's his receivers? Oh, he's got old receivers.
He's win now. Hardcore.
This could be a Christian McCaffrey target though.
And he has both of his picks, 26 and 27 picks.
Oh, can you go back up?
Caleb Johnson and his 27 first for Christian McCaffrey. Would you do that?
Yeah, I would easily do it. I don't know if he would do it, but I would definitely do that 100%.
That's the kind of move I'm looking to try to make with this team. Because Christian McCaffrey all of a sudden puts him as a legit contender because he's got old receivers. He's got Jane Daniels, Justin Fields, now Aaron Rodgers. And who's his tight end? He needs
Cole
a tight
Kmet
end
and
too,
Zach Ertz.
He's fine with Zach Ertz to compete this year. I'd love to get this guy's 27 first because he's old, man. If I give him McCaffrey and for Caleb Johnson's 27 first, I feel really good about that. Now that move you probably won't be able to make until in season, but in season, but that you take the risk of Caleb Johnson kind of looking good as
Blowing
well.
up.
That's a risk. But like, unfortunately, right now, Christian McCaffrey, you're not going to get the value you want until in season. Christian McCaffrey's doing Christian McCaffrey things, which is going to be catching passes.
Or if he just gets more hype coming into the season that he's healthiest that he's ever been, all that stuff.
And that's the move. I mean, Will, that's the move. It's like you're looking in season with these running backs. I said that those Gibbs trade we offered, I think, are both, if you can get it, great. That'd be fantastic. Is there anybody else above him? Like, because then Gibbs is like somebody who gives us a lot of flexibility. Like, who's this number one? Okay, this guy's number one.
Quinshawn
or Harvey, even. I mean, yeah, preferably Quinshawn now. Doesn't have any receivers.
Quinshawn and Travis Hunter for Gibbs. Would you do that?
No picks.
I would. I mean, I would.
Is that enough? Quinshawn and Hunter for Gibbs.
Like, we're taking a lot of risk. Like, we take all the risk. Like, I don't like that.
Is there a third piece to kind of help steady that risk there?
He's not giving anything else up on top of that. Like, he's not giving up this guy just invested. Obviously, this guy just invested the 1-1. He just had the 1-1, the 1-2. This guy had a whole bunch of draft picks.
He also, I've seen his picks on other teams. I don't think he has picks. I think he's out of picks. I think he's all in. Yeah, he's all in. So he does need to make this work.
But the thing, like, does he feel like he has to overpay? Like, he just got Quinshawn, RJ Harvey, Genty, and Hampton. Like, he probably feels pretty good about his running back room. Like, look, Gibbs holds the water, right? Like, so I'm willing to. I just don't know.
Should be
for
this
Gibbs,
should be like a
want to do that. Like, would you give up 1-4 like in a super flex league? Are you giving up essentially for Gibbs? Would you take 1-5 and 1-8 or 1-7 for Gibbs?
I would want more for Gibbs personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but that's the thing. I think we could get more than even.
Well, we're not. He has nothing else to offer. What else is he going to give us? He gave all his picks.
You love RJ Harvey. See if you can do RJ, Quinshawn, Travis Hunter for Gibbs, and throw in something else. What's something else? We have some receivers.
Waddle, Cup,
Brandon Ayuk,
Cup.
Okay,
yeah,
Cup.
Yeah.
Either one.
He's a name. Yeah. Cup's a good. Yeah. We should be throwing Cup in on a lot of deals, right? Like,
yeah. The sweetener.
Trades one Cup.
There we go.
This is a great team to wait until like week 2. Like, there's going to be at least one of these rookie running backs that aren't producing.
Slow.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, you need CMC now. Or you need Gibbs.
Too. So yeah, I think this guy, if we can't get the JS Henderson or the Emeka Buka Henderson in a first, if we can't get that deal done, I think this is another team to target.
I think so too. Yeah. So Will, what you're looking to do is like you put yourself in a corner of like if you just had one more receiver, I'd be like, yeah, dude, go for it. Right.
Be a lot different.
Like, yeah.
Your chances of winning are pretty slim, if I'm just being honest.
But we're still not far though. But we're still not far.
No, because dude, if McCaffrey hits like at all, we get one last year of McCaffrey being McCaffrey, him and Gibbs and Bowers and those quarterbacks hit, they will help. They could win you a championship. Like if Waddle rebounds, but you really need, like again, you would need Cooper Kupp to have a magic year. If you're putting listen, man, the best way to put it is you have Christian Kirk in your lineup. If that's the way it's going to start off, you're dead in the water. Like you're not going now. Dude, it's just you got to make a move, man. Like you got to set the foundation and make a push elsewhere. Bowers ain't going anywhere. Drake May's not going anywhere, and JJ McCarthy's not going anywhere. So that leaves you with Christian McCaffrey and Jahmyr Gibbs. And sometimes, like you said, people in Dynasty, they want to make these moves and they want to be able to like keep all those assets. But to get something good in return, you got to give up something. And unfortunately, that's Jahmyr Gibbs is your bet. Like, do we like moving Jahmyr Gibbs? Absolutely not. He's a cornerstone piece. But he's also a running back. So if we're going to look at the most valuable piece on your roster, the running backs will be the most fluid piece. And like I said, if we could bounce back and get some of those guys that we mentioned, Garrett, definitely that Trevion Henderson would be a really good deal. That's my favorite one that we had. So if we can make that move, like Jackson Smith and Jigba and Trevion Henderson, and if we have to give a little on top, like you said, the 27-second, I got to do what I got to do, but I feel really good about that.
Or Cooper Kupp or Brandon Ayuk. Those guys are also.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp would be a good drop on top of that. Hey, dude, I'll give you Jahmyr Gibbs and Cooper Kupp. You give me Trevion Henderson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And he feels like, wow. Like he's almost like I'm flipping Kupp for or Jackson Smith for Gibbs almost a little bit.
Yeah.
Are
right,
you guys targeting really fast? I'm sorry. Are you guys targeting James Cook at all with the ambiguity of his future? Or are you kind of hands off with him?
I like him. I don't
He's a hold.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to take on the risk. Yeah, I don't want to take on the risk if I don't have to. But if I already have him, I'm not going to get what he's worth. So I think he's just a strong hold at this point.
Yeah, the big thing is like here's the thing. All signs are pointing that he won't be on the Buffalo Bills in 2026. That's where all signs are pointing. And that does not excite me. Like if he just signed an extension, dude, he's skyrocketing up my board. You know, I feel really good about him. He looked really good last year, definitely in the playoffs. But like when running backs switch teams, I think of his playing style, like it's not always the best outcome.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, I want to tell you a couple things real quick. First of all, there's at least 70 of you watching at the moment, but we only have 14 likes. So if you're here watching, do us a favor, click that like button. We really appreciate it. But I also want to tell you guys real quick about a way that you can get an absolutely free year of these tools we're using. We're only using like some of the tools. We have so many more opportunities. We've got extra podcasts for you. We've got the film room if you want to see these rookies. We've got Nerd Scores. We've got all kinds of extra stuff for you, including all of these tools plus more than you've seen. And all you've got to do to get that absolutely free is join us on Fast Draft. So if you scan the QR code, Pete put it in the upper right-hand corner. Fast Draft, if you've played Underdog, you'll love Fast Draft. Very similar concept, but you get the drafts done even quicker. Plus, it's like a newer startup. So the sharks aren't there as much yet. You have great opportunity to really win some good money over there. And you can play even in some rookie only tournaments, which I love. I think those are super, super fun. We spend all offseason talking about these rookies. It's fun to have them go head to head. You can do traditional ones where you have all the veterans mixed in with the rookies. You can even do IDP best ball. So if you want to get that absolutely free, scan the Fast Draft QR code there in the upper right-hand corner. Just deposit $10, play with that $10, and then you will get a free year of Dynasty Nerds. I would recommend depositing 25 because then you'll get an additional 25. You can even do up to 50.
50
so
50 get a free 50.
Give me the 50. So head over there, Fast Draft, scan the QR code. You'll get a free year of all the amazing things that we do at Dynasty Nerds. All right, let's get to our next roster rescue.
And like, I mean, like I'm drafting there. So it's like you're drafting with reverse sharks. So
there you go.
There you go.
Drafting
get some free money.
Minnows.
That's right.
All right.
Okay. Here is David.
All right. We've got David's squad here. This is a super flex tight end premium league. Right now, we have at quarterback Jordan Love, Jackson Dart, Justin Fields, Matthew Stafford. So we actually have 4 starting quarterbacks. So something to keep in mind as we look to what we want to do with this team. Running backs, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Trey Benson, Tony Pollard. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Jaden Reed, Mike Evans, Khalil Shakir, Jalen Knoll, Jacoby Myers. And then at tight end, we have Cade Otton. We have our first over the next 2 seasons as well as our second. So we've done a good job of not mortgaging our future. We've got some pieces on this team. But Rich, to me, this looks like a team where in 2022, I would have been like over the moon excited about this team. Guys like Breece and Joe Mixon and guys like that. Matthew Stafford at quarterback and Justin Fields and guys like that. But it seems like time has not aged this team as well as we would like. So, Rich, what direction are you starting to go?
Well, we have a lot of quarterbacks, which is great in Superflex to trade.
Pete, can you scroll back up?
Yep.
Targeting teams to move there. We have no tight end help whatsoever. Our running back room is super thin. So I am looking to like Justin Fields, somebody I'm trying to move. Stafford's not going to get you what you want, but Fields is going to get you more when the season starts because it's still hard to get the real fair value of Justin Fields. But remember, when Justin Fields takes snaps behind center in the NFL, he produces fantasy football points at a high volume. Like he produces quarterback 1 fantasy production, and that is value to everybody because overall he's gonna produce. So for me, I'm looking to move Justin Fields in season. Your running back room is you have a ton of backup upside, right? Trey Benson, Dylan Sampson, Ray Davis. You got Tony Pollard in your starting lineup. That's fine. Joe Mixon with an addition of Nick Chubb. Like Joe Mixon's probably the still starter there unless Nick Chubb bounces back. Go down to receivers again, Pete. I want to see where our help is. Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans. Totally comfortable with that as well. Jacoby Myers is your. So how many start in this league? It's a start. This is a big start.
This is a start 11.
11. I don't guess. Yeah. So he needs a lot of depth. So you got good depth, like to get in there. Jaden Reed's on your starting lineup, which I feel nice about that. So can we look at can you put us in contender mode?
Yes.
Let's see where go to team 5. It's a team 5 and 6, right? So they have Pat Mahomes, Michael Penix. What are the receivers? And run them. So the receivers, this has a ton here. Go to team 6.
Yep.
Oh, this guy needs help. Okay. He needs a lot of help. I'm just wondering if we could flirt with this guy with like I wonder if this guy would just go back up to his quarterbacks. I wonder if this guy would just take Matt Stafford for Alvin Kamara.
So what direction are you wanting to go? Because I had to bounce for a second. So are we going more of a rebuild mode, or are we going more of like to try to push it for one more
our
season?
team again? Pete?
Yeah.
Because right now, to me, on the surface, this looks like an aging team where there's still a lot of pieces that have value, but not enough pieces to actually compete. So this feels like a good time to kind of pull the plug.
Yeah.
And
I think
outside of like Jordan Love, really see what I can get for a lot of my assets.
Yeah, you know what, Garrett? I think you're right. I think looking at this, like I said, Alvin Kamara, Matt Stafford, that's just we're middling there. I think the move. So again, unfortunately, the roster review and like, let's make this trade here, make this trade here. This is, I think, for the real value is going to be like like who has Devontae Adams? Like I'm immediately trying to pair up, like trying to get that guy the stack of Devontae Adams and Matt Stafford. Like what can I get for Matt? I'm with you. I think having Jackson Dart on my roster makes me feel good about like, hey, I can gamble now, produce right away. I got Jordan Love. He's not going anywhere. I think outside of that, and what's the number one receiver we have? We have one number.
Garrett Wilson, which for the right price, I'd move him.
I would,
but I'm not like
I think
overly active.
Everybody else. I think I'm keeping Jordan Love. I'm keeping Jackson Dart, and I'm keeping Garrett Wilson. I think I'm gonna try and find path, and I'll probably keep Jaden Reed because of the value that I'm gonna get return. I'd rather just keep Jaden Reed. I think Mike Evans has got to go in season. DK Metcalf, you could move now for somebody who needs receiver help.
Yep.
But Jacoby Myers in season move. Yeah,
I would rather, I think, hold Joe Mixon till in season 2 because right now the narrative with Nick Chubb has really pushed him down. I don't think it affects him much, honestly, but
I don't think it affects him too much either. But like right now, you're right. The narrative is going to decapitate him. Like nobody's gonna, nobody likes Joe Mixon for the last 3 years when he's been producing as a running back 1, let alone when he just signed Nick Chubb, the greatest running back, one of the greatest running backs of all time. Love you, Nick. I'll miss you so much. I'm so sad you're gone. My wife asked me if we're taking the Nick Chubb jersey down out of the studio, and I was like, absolutely not. She's like, "What doesn't play for the Browns anymore?" I was like, "What does that have to?" Neither LaDainian Thomas doesn't play for the Chargers anymore. That'd still be hanging if we had that up there. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of in-season moves that I would be looking to make. I'd be fine with moving DK Metcalf in the off season. I'd be fine with moving Breece Hall probably in the off season, just because I really don't know how to feel about Breece Hall. Like even if you're maybe taking only 85 cents to 90 cents on the dollar, that's one player whose value could plummet if it really is a true timeshare.
It really, he could plummet, but like again, if I had to gamble on Breece Hall, I'm taking the non-plummet side of it. Go to teams.
Okay, so you would wait.
No, I would move for the right price, but I'm not selling myself short. Like
Okay.
I'd maybe take 90 cents on the dollar, but I'm not taking 85
Okay.
cents on the dollar.
Okay.
302 and 3. Like I'd love to find somebody who needs a receiver because we have some good, like we can get like a good. Okay, this guy doesn't need any receivers. Let's see.
Not really.
Doesn't need any receivers. Oh, this guy needs some. He doesn't
There
think.
you go.
God,
He
he's
doesn't
so
this
old.
year. Long term, he does. He could be looking to get younger. Who's his quarterback?
Oh, he's set there.
He's pretty good.
Know what I'm moving here? I'm offering this team or the gate because he can use them. Go down a little bit farther. I am offering this guy. I'm offering him Mike Evans for Isaiah Likely.
Ooh.
That would get done all day, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I bet you could get more.
And a second, yeah. Ask for like a second in 2027 too. Yeah. Get a second too, dude. He could use a little receiver help. He's not starting Likely. I think there's a very good chance by 2026 Isaiah Likely is the number one tight end on that team with an extension from Baltimore. So I think that's a move I would like to make because we're gonna get this is the last year I think of value, any kind of value for dynasty wise for Mike Evans. We're trying to blow this thing up. So there's not many players we can get ahead of on this because I said a lot of these are gonna be inside. But I think Likely is a move I'd like to. That's a gamble I'd take. That I think, like you said, it would for sure get done.
Yep, absolutely. I think the same team though too. I'm looking at their 26 and 27 first, seeing that they're getting a little bit older, specifically their 27 first, and because their running back situation is really not that good. This team has Peter. Can you scroll up to the running backs? Pretty sure their running back 2 right now is Swift. Yeah, Kyron, then Swift, then ETN and Brian Robbins. Like a bunch of guys that you do not really want to be your running back 2. So with a Joe Mixon and a Breece Hall, this is a team that could very easily say, yeah, I'm willing to move some of my draft capital for some running backs to help me out.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is gonna be one of those teams where okay, when you have what we have, right? And we talk about in season, as we start to inch here, any opportunity that you find where there's injury news or something like that, or any player spikes in your roster, you're just throwing offers, and you're letting people know, hey, I am moving, right? You don't have to put a message out there I'm blowing this up because then people want to take advantage of you and try and get, like you said, 90 cents on the dollar. But you're going through and you're just sending offers to a lot of different teams and finding this path. I said, most people, you said, the Mike Evans, oh, they'll probably get snapped, accepted. Yeah, probably. That's the team that looks like that 2 years down the road. You're like, oh, dude, I got this 27 second and Isaiah Likely for Mike Evans. What a win, right? You're looking for that upside because you're really just trying to get Mike Evans off your roster. And there's not many players that offer upsides that's going to give you Mike Evans with your need at tight end. How bad you are. What do you have? Do you just have K. Dotton at tight end?
K. Dotton, I think, is his main guy.
Yeah. That's a hole you need to fill. So why not game on a guy who offers a ton of upside there? Now, listen, that's just me. I'm willing to game on Isaiah Likely. Maybe a lot of other people won't be willing to game on Isaiah Likely. But that's if I'm thinking.
But at this spot, Mike Evans isn't helping you in 2 to 3 years.
Yes, and I think the key though on top of that is trying to get that 27 second on top.
The second, yep.
And even to the point, dude. Hey, dude, if I had to give my I'll give you Mike Evans in my 27 fourth. You give me Isaiah Likely in your 27 second. Something kind of tease,
Sprinkle.
Yeah, that he's just moving back with those doo-doo picks, right? Because I'd honestly give my third if I have to jump around in 2027. I'd rather
you just have such a better shot at hitting in the second than you do the third.
100%. It goes from what I think it goes from 17% down to 7%. So you have a whole 10% drop of having a rosterable player.
Even worse, it's 22 to 8.
22% to 8%. So even worse. So
yep.
Yeah, I think that's just we're going right through who needed receiver help. The first guy I saw. You have in-season assets that you could trade. I mean, DK Metcalf's the one player I think you trade now, but with emergent again, with no moves at tight the receiver position, they only have Roman Wilson as their number 2. In reality, Pat Freiermuth is their number 2. With Aaron Rodgers coming on, Aaron Rodgers looked good last year, pushing the ball downfield to DK Metcalf. I think once the season starts, DK Metcalf is going to see a big spike in value as well. Like he might be able to give you a solid return. So I think you really start that domino push of blowing everything. I think you just kind of blow it up, man, and get into 2027 as much as you possibly can. And that's going to be your rebound year. And everybody goes, like I said, Jackson Dart, Garrett Wilson, and eventually you might hit a point where Garrett Wilson's you trade him too. But like I'm trying to get a foundation where I don't have to move him. This then will put your 26th first into a pretty high valuable slot as well. And now we can start building there with the eyes are really taking that big step forward in kind of 27, like we just did with the first nuke we did, right? Like he had all that draft capital. We're like, hey, this year can go your way now because everything we added. But if not, next year's like you have a good foundation as well. So that you kind of have to look from, okay, I'm not doing anything this year, right? The worst I could do is I get stuck like in the middle. I just missed the playoffs or I just made the playoffs to get eliminated. And now you have all these depreciated assets that you missed a window on of getting anything in return. So you don't want to be stuck in the middle. You got to blow it up. And when you make that decision, sometimes you will be taking 85 cents on the dollar, but you're chasing upside at that point. That's the point where like, because if the upside doesn't pan out, you're okay. Cause you're already in that rebuild draft mode anyway. So if a draft pick doesn't hit, it's not end of the world. If Isaiah Likely doesn't hit, it's not end of the world, but you're hoping and you're gambling. Like if we knew about Isaiah Likely in a tight end premium league now, like think about, okay, where would Isaiah Likely be in the 26th draft if it's not a super strong draft? Say he falls into that Colston, like he looks pretty good this year. That Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren value. Well, now all of a sudden you're looking at pick 111, 112. There's no way you're getting 112 for Mike Evans at the end of the year or going to that rookie draft. There's no way you're getting that. So if you can get Isaiah Likely and a second on top, I look at it as a huge win, even though you're taking all the gamble. Because sometimes you win by there's addition by subtraction. That comes into full effect in Dynasty, right? Addition by subtraction. And that's what we're looking to do here.
Absolutely. All right. What do we got next, Pete? Oh, another one.
This is my last one. I have to go pick up my son.
Yeah, this was a perfect time, Nicholas.
And I think we have a new host even coming in to join me.
The great Cook, who's been with us for a long time, a fantastic writer for us, great Dynasty mind. So I'm excited for him to get an opportunity to jump on here and talk some Dynasty rosters with you guys.
Absolutely.
So all right. He has the 102 and normally drafts during the preseason, and he needs help in several positions.
Okay. Right now we are the 11th team in Dynasty mode. We'll see where we're at in contender mode, but looking at the first two positions, I'm guessing not super high.
Starting Joe Flacco.
We are currently starting Joe Flacco. Will likely be Justin Fields. Yeah. You also have Anthony Richardson in 1 QB. I'm more interested in Anthony Richardson than I am in Superflex. Yeah.
I mean, dude, what quarterback in one QB, least of my concerns. Because whenever even the point, like I'm building everything else, and when I'm ready to go, like I can go ahead and just go trade for a veteran quarterback very easily.
Yeah. Go get Jared Goff. Okay, done and done. Running backs, Bijan Robinson, Ramondre Stevenson, Raheem Mostert. Wide receivers, we have Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman, Jalen McMillan, Josh Palmer. And then at tight end, we have Pat Freiermuth, Zach Ertz, Noah Fant. So we have our first and second. What?
I'm so sorry.
What?
My wife lied to me.
Did she?
Said my son was done with football minio camp at 1:30. He's asking me where I'm at. He was done at 1.
See ya.
All right. Best of luck to Nicholas. Get Tristan in here. These guys are going to keep you in good hands. I apologize. My son, where are you at? I'm looking for you. We're just looking at Nicholas's roster, son. All right, boys. I got to roll.
All right. We'll see you, man.
You're rich.
All right. Well, don't worry. We still got you covered here, Nicholas. So in a 1 QB league, like Rich was saying, I don't care about quarterback. You have 2 upside guys, which with the point that you're currently at is where I would want to be. I'm not investing anything heavy, and I just want guys with upside. So you got 2 guys with upside. You're in a good spot there. Looking at the rest of where are we at in contender mode, Pete?
Let's check that out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We're now in last. So having the 102 is awesome. But realistically, it is probably a piece that you're going to need to split. You're going to probably need to split that asset because right now at wide receiver, you have two upside guys in Jalen Waddle and Jordan Addison, and then really nobody else you can trust. Hopefully, eventually, we get back to Michael Pittman as a guy we can trust. And what's our tight end again?
Zach Ertz and Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah. So right now, you're losing at basically every position. So we have two legitimate assets that we can move at this point. We've got Bijan and we've got the 102. That's really all we've got because you could draft the 102 and add Omari and Hampton to your team and then still put yourself in the bottom three, even with adding a dynamic player like that. So for me, though, I am not trading these guys cheap because both of these assets are going to get you a haul. They are assets that everybody will want on their team. So I'm taking a look at some of these teams. So Pete, give me some of these top teams here.
Yeah.
Let's see what they've got. This top team right away, perfect candidate to potentially trade Bijan Robinson. They do not have a true running back one that they feel confident in, but they have a lot of wide receivers that are really interesting. Now, the tricky part is you have three guys that are like truly top tier. So right now you would have to just make a lateral move, which we need to split these assets.
Yeah.
So that's
and he
what's
doesn't
going to
have
make
any
it
picks.
tricky. And he doesn't really have any picks. So fortunately, it looked good at first because he needs running back, but we're probably going to have to move on. Team 2.
Gibbs and H.
Okay, he's got two really good ones. This is a roster we could work with, though. These are the types of receivers that I'm wanting, the receiver plus some draft capital or things like that. So
look who's here.
Boom.
And what's up, buddy?
How's it going, man?
It's going well. We're looking at Nick's roster right now. We've got a bit of a rebuild roster.
Yeah.
And right now, it's a team with really only two true legitimate assets. Why don't we show Tristan our team again here? Really only two assets. It's one QB, Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, upside players, but not something we're going to count on. Bijan Robinson and then Ramondre Stevenson. That's about it. Wide receiver, a couple good upside players in Waddle and Addison. Pittman, we'll see if he can bounce back. And then nothing at tight end, really. So really our only assets are we have pick 102 and Bijan Robinson. That's really our only real asset. So what I like to do in these types of situations is I'm trying to split those assets into multiple upside assets. Is that the route that you would typically go as well?
Yeah, but especially when that asset is a running back. If it was, Malik Neighbors, even Justin Jefferson age, like I'm probably going to try to hold on to them because you're hoping to hit something that big, that valuable of an asset that can be that good for that long. But with a running back, especially, I'd be moving. I'd be looking to move, not forcing a move, right? Like you don't have to worry about Bijan in age. It's not like he's about to fall off an age cliff.
No.
But by the time this team is where I would feel strong about contending, he probably will be either approaching the age cliff or the value will be significantly lower. You might have a closing window rather than a opening window with him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd be looking to move Bijan. Honestly, the 102 is a great pick to have, but I might be putting that up on the trade block.
Absolutely.
Just so that people can kind of, know I'm willing to do business and see if you can maybe stockpile some picks in future years. Eventually you're going to have to make picks, but If you can
And-
take one pick this year and turn it into a player with upside and a first round pick or more, or more than that, I like that idea.
Real quick to answer A. Brown's comment, this is a 1 QB league, so Ward would not really be in the conversation for me at 102. Superflex, maybe I'd consider it a little bit more, but still, I'm big best player available, and that would still be Omarion Hampton for me if I was drafting it, but I'm not planning on drafting the 102. So, Pete, can we go back to that team that I was looking at that had like Garrett Wilson and Ladman? I think it was the third team, right? No, was it the second team?
Who was on
It
it?
might have been the second team then. There it is. Yep.
Yep.
So these are some assets right here that I'm really interested in. Garrett Wilson, Lad McConkey, Romo Dunze. I would love to find a way to somehow get 2 of these receivers. Now, this team might be a little leery to give up these guys potentially because they're young, exciting assets. But that's what I'm kind of looking at. What does this team have pick-wise and tight end-wise? Dalton Kincaid, and then they've got a 25 first. I don't know what pick that will be.
It's a 14-team league too.
Oh,
We need to get that added on.
Okay.
Okay.
Deshaun's legal team, that's the last team in contender, so that's probably the 101, if not pretty high up there as well. So that does change things as well. But for you, that's a good thing because you get even more value out of a running back when it's a 14-team league because they are just so hard to get. So you're going to get great value. So I'm truly looking at this team and I'm saying, hey, can I get it? Like, let's say if it was the 102, can I get Lad McConkey and Romo Dunze? Or can I get Garrett Wilson and Romo Dunze for the 102? Like, that's what I'm looking to do. Now, if it's Bijan, I want Lad McConkey, Romo Dunze, and I want their first. Like, I want basically because right now you're going to get probably close to 2 firsts for McConkey. You'll get an additional first, and then you'd probably get a late first. So you'd be getting close to 4 firsts worth of value. And like, that's honestly probably what I would be trying to get in a 14-team league, because to get an asset like a Bijan Robinson is next to impossible.
See, I have one quick thought. I might try to go trade Bijan and the 102 to this team. Although in contender mode, they may not be willing to do it, but for Neighbors, Wilson, and McConkey, just lock up, make your wide receivers, the top like position you have, trade away 1 pick and a running back that's not going to help you. And maybe you can get more than those 3. I don't know. Like, that's a huge move for this team here, but something
it would
like
be tough probably because Neighbors is going to typically go right around the same range as Bijan. So
we
that's
have him
more,
about 2,000 points of value more in the calculator here. He was over 10,000, I believe, unless I misread it. I mean, you might still be right. I just think that like in a 14-team league, if you
can get it done, I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to make that move. It would also be tough for a team to just say like, all right, I'm cool going into the season with Romo Dunze and Jameson Williams as my 2 guys.
Right. That's
switch
the downside.
Lad and Rome in that, would you be fine with that?
I wouldn't.
Bijan and 102
for
Neighbors, Wilson and Odunze.
To me, the difference
do
between Odunze and McConkey is pretty massive. Like, we saw Lad McConkey do it. We know that offense, like, even in a run-heavy offense, he was a focal point of it. The Bears just drafted another receiver. Like, not that I'm out on Romo Dunze by any stretch, but we have 3,200 points of value here difference. I don't think that I think that I would need more than just swapping McConkey and Odunze. If I was swapping McConkey with Odunze, I would need more than something in addition. Maybe it's another. You can get like a 2027 first with that. maybe then I'm interested. But I think that Ladd McConkey, maybe I'm higher on Ladd McConkey, but I think, our value here shows he's right up there with Garrett Wilson and notably above Odunze.
Yeah, I would think that some people would have a hard time giving Ladd McConkey straight up for the 102, right? Just value wise. So that's where I'm trying to figure out how
Pete,
to
what other
work.
teams? What about teams that really need running back? Team 7 seems to have some good receivers, but not a lot of running backs. What do they got?
Got Brees, and that's it. And then Nico, Zay, Jerry, and Ricky.
I would be interested in. Wonder if we could do what picks do they have? They have all their
picks. Yep.
Wonder if we could do something like Bijan for Nico in their first in 26 or 27. That would be a deal I'd like to do, because now I split that into 2 parts. And if I need to make a move later to sell Nico Collins, he's still going to have crazy value. So that would be a deal I would be looking to do. And even if I had to throw in like a Michael Pittman to like help them with their receiver room, I'd be open to it.
Maybe I'm overvaluing Bijan and running backs in a 14-team league, but I feel like I would ask for more on top of
then Nico in a first.
Yeah, for Bijan, like
I would want a little bit more.
27 first. We like the class, but that's 2 years down the road. Like a 27 first is, like, in my view, closer to a like early 25 second than in value, and that's not like, I don't know, that I just think that like Bijan Robinson could be, running back 5 at worst for the next 5 years. And Nico could be a wide receiver 1 for the next 5 years, but he's closer to like 8 to 12 to 16 on any given year. I think like there's a lot of good receivers and there's a lot of young upcoming guys that I like a little more than Nico to be trading, one of the top like 2 or 3 running backs for the 8th to 16th. Like maybe I'm like, it's interesting to hear you say that. I was expecting you were going to go like, I'd need more, not I'd be willing to add.
Yeah, and maybe you could get a little bit more. But I don't know. Like right now, Nico's going right around the end of the second round. Bijan's going right around the end of the first round. So a first round pick to only move up around feels decent to me, especially in a class where we know that there's some elite receiver talent, which is what we want to get on this team. So I would be willing to do that. If somebody in a 14-team league said, I'll give you Bijan, or I'll give you Nico in a first for Bijan, I would be willing to do that personally. But
I think the point it highlights is like, depending on the person, you might be able to get a lot more even, but it's worth, like, he's going to garner a lot of interest, right? So if you put him out there and say Bijan's available, like try to get a bidding war going, right? Mm-hmm. Get as much interest as you can, and maybe you then can get even more than either of us think that we would want to spend to get Bijan, because he's such a top tier running back in a 14-team league is so valuable. You might be able to get a couple of teams that are borderline contenders that really want to push their team over the top and are willing to mortgage their future and a receiver. And I think it's a smart move to put him on the block and then just kind of see. And you don't have to rush to trade him, right? Like,
no, he's gonna carry value. I'm not selling low. Like whatever my value is, I'm not selling below that value. So even if I have to hold on to him, and even if I have to hold on to the 102, I'll hold on to him. I'm not selling those guys below value. You have to do that on a Mike Evans. You have to do that at times on these older players. These are both young assets that are not depreciating anytime in value. So I want to get what I deem as true value for both of those players. So, all right. Anything else here that we need to cover?
So we were talking. We did the Robinson trade, right? Like even that trade by itself, like I still don't feel great about the future of this team.
No.
I think did I see as Zach Ertz? Because I would look to trade like Ertz and Stevenson. I don't know that you can get much for him, but like trade Stevenson to the Henderson like team if you can, or I guess depending on like where he goes in the draft. And Zach Ertz, if there's a tight end needy, I know there's a few in here, especially on the like top end of this league that are thin at tight end. Like Zach Ertz doesn't help your team at all, right? Like this is a number 2. There is a perfect team to offer Zach Ertz. Like you can get a 3rd round pick pretty easily for Zach Ertz, or maybe even more. I think you want as many shots as you can take.
And to that point, I'm taking a look at Raheem Mostert. I'm taking a look at, like, scroll down for a sec. I'm taking a look at, keep going, Josh Palmer. Taking a look at, like, anybody on my team that I am worried is going to score me points that I do not think is legitimately part of my future. I'm moving. Even if I lose a little bit, I am moving them because I don't want to get the number 2 pick next year. And let's say Arch comes out or Sellers ends up being a superstar or whatever. Like, I don't want to miss the 101 because I had freaking Josh Palmer on my team, or Raheem Mostert on a week where Genti was out, put up a 70-yard touchdown or something like that. So for me, I am taking any player that I don't think is part of my core, which realistically is probably Michael Pittman as well. I'm probably moving those types of assets to make sure Pat Freiermuth, he's gone. Like, I'm moving him. I do not want to score any unnecessary points on this team.
Yeah, I think that, like, I'm not tied to Pittman, but I think by any means, like, I think he'd be somebody I'd be willing to throw in to get future picks, because he's like, the way I look at it is I want to have as much of my roster in a rebuild as I can on a rookie contract. And, maybe hitting free agency timeframe or second contract timeframe as I'm becoming a contender. But like Pittman would be a great example. As you pointed out with Freiermuth, like you can move him to, like, any of those guys that aren't going to be like on your team for sure, or that you would want on your team for sure when you're starting to contend in like 2 to 3 years. I would be open to moving. I try not to sell low, so that's where I like my hesitation on Pittman, for example, or Waddle. Like
I'm not moving Waddle. I think he's a part of it, so I'm not moving.
Yeah, I know you, but like guys like that more so where they, like, if their value has dropped in a year, not due to age, but due to something else, where I think that they can bounce back. Those are guys that as a rebuild, I might be trying to acquire, and if I can hold on to, I will. But I also wouldn't hate if you, like, for in this example, Pittman, like if that got the deal done on one of these bigger deals, absolutely, I'd be willing to throw him in.
Awesome. All right, Pete.
Yeah,
I know you said you need to hop in. What do you need?
Yeah. So Ben, I sent you an email. I need a little bit more info from you. Check your spam. And get back to me. We should be able to fit you on the show, but as long as you get back to me. Anyway, on to the next one.
Okie
dokie. The Dog Pound League.
Nice.
So this one might be an IDP league, but we'll just focus on the offensive side. Yep. Christopher.
Okay. All right, Christopher. We have got a super flex league. No tight end premium here. We are currently the 9th team in Dynasty mode. Quarterbacks, we've got Brock Purdy, Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe, Russell Wilson, Dylan Gabriel. Running backs, Ashton Genti, Kenneth Walker, Bashal Tootin, Roshan Johnson. Receivers, Travis Hunter, Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison, Chris Godwin, Khalil Shakir, Cortland Sutton, Cedric Tillman. And then tight ends, Colston Loveland, Dalton Kincaid, Evan Ingram, Elijah Arroyo. So picks wise, though, we do not have our first in 2026. We have a second. We have 2 seconds in 27 along with our first. So deep bench. We've got 4 taxi spots, all kinds of goodness on this team. So looking at this squad, where are we at in contender mode, Pete?
Where do you guess?
I'm going to guess right now, I'm going to guess 7th.
Yeah, I was going to say right in the middle. So if you want, I'll pick 6th so that Price is right, you Garrett.
There we go.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
9th. Okay. All right. A little lower than I would have expected. But let's go ahead and go back to Dynasty mode.
Those quarterbacks are what are hurting it in contender mode because it's really only Purdy with
any actual value.
With contender value. I think the rest were at 0.
Yeah, which Russell Wilson, maybe he could have a little bit of like 100.
I think between those 4 other guys, you'll get a handful of starts that are usable.
You will.
Do you think Shuck's going to start most of the year, or what do you think about that?
I think he's the odds-on favorite at this point.
And are you starting him? I guess that's the question.
I mean, on this
rather
team,
have someone else being a super flex.
On this team, probably. Yeah. I mean, if Russell Wilson is starting week 1 and Shuck is starting week 1, I'm probably going Russ. Depending on the matchup, I'd have to see what the matchup is. But I'm probably going Russ because I want to wait and see. I don't dislike Shuck. I don't. But that whole team is in a bad spot. There is just not a lot there. So that's what gets tricky. But moving on to the rest of the roster here. Right now, we're in 9th in Dynasty mode. We're in 9th in contender mode. We're kind of just one of these teams that's teetering on the brink of relevance. Scroll down to our receivers because we've got Ashton Genty and Walker as the main assets there. Looking at our receivers, we've got Travis Hunter, upside guy. Jordan Addison, upside guy. Devonta Smith, I think he kind of is what he is. I don't think there's much upside there, but there's some clear value. Chris Godwin, Khalil Shakir, Cortland Sutton. So to me, the tricky part about this one is this team feels like a team that did a really good job in this draft. They've got a lot of good young assets to get excited about. And if another one of those quarterbacks pans out, you're in an okay spot. But realistically, to trust that Travis Hunter is going to hit this year, that Jordan Addison's going to hit this year, that we're also going to get good performances out of another receiver or two, and then go to tight end. We have lots of exciting names at tight end. But right now, nobody that I would for sure trust week in, week out, with the possible exception of Evan Ingram. I do think he's going to be used a lot in that offense. So my lean would be one, I want to see where my 26 first is because I think we're close, but I don't think we're quite there. If there is a scenario where I can get my 26 first back, I'm very interested to do it because I don't think our year is 2025. I think our year is 2026 because we're trusting too many young guys and too many rookies at this point to really get the job done.
Let me ask you a strategy question. Like, I don't disagree with you that if you can get your first back, that's probably better. But I'm sure the person that has them is looking at this and is like, this could be an early first. Is this a situation?
Always tough to get your first back. As soon as you start poking around, they're like, why do you want your first back? So
right.
It is always a tough proposition.
And if you get it back, you're making your team worse, which is good for you, but harder for them. Like, it's harder for the team that has it to want to give up your pick. But my strategy question is this the situation where you try for the middle? Because the middle of the first doesn't hurt you because or maybe that's a bad way to put it. You try early on to make your pick look worse and then get it back and then sell maybe like a Cortland Sutton type of
if
player.
You're able to do that, absolutely. Because I think that's the thing is like right now, you kind of have to lie in the bed that you've made. Like there's really not, unless you're really able to get it, your 26 first right now, you've kind of got to let things go. You've kind of got to let things ride, and you've got to see what you have with all of these rookies, because right now you just don't know. Obviously, we feel very good about Ashton Genty. Obviously, there's other players that we feel really good about. But when you look at a bulk of this roster, even some of the veterans, like I love Chris Godwin. I think he's one of the most undervalued receivers in football. But I don't know what he's going to be like coming off this injury. I hope he looks like he did last year. I don't know. Evan Ingram's in a new offense. It's an offense that has traditionally done very well with the tight end, and I think he's got the ability to be a stud. But do I know for sure? I don't. There's a ton of rookies in the tight end room with him as well. So I think you're right, Tristan. This is a scenario where I am more willing to let this ride longer and not make moves today, because I think Evan Ingram goes up in value in season. I think Cortland Sutton goes up in value in season. If any of these quarterbacks look remotely good, they go up in value in season. And right now, all of those assets that I just named, there's really nowhere for them to fall. Like they're not going to get less valuable. They already don't have a ton of value at the moment. So I think you're correct in that assumption, Tristan, that we are not making a ton of trades today. We're pushing this into the end season since we do not have our first.
Yeah.
And then this is the team that has his first. It's definitely
second
kind
place
of a
team.
Do you have 3 firsts next year?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're an interesting squad because
They're a weird
a
mix
borderline
of like competing
contender
now and then, but young, but then they have like Kelsey.
Can you switch it to contender mode? Because I'd guess this team is like 8th, probably.
4th.
Wow. Okay.
After
But
third, I feel like there's
it falls off,
tier drop. Yeah. There's like 3 tiers. There's this tier, and then
how many points
next
away
3,
is team 4 from team 3?
Like
Almost 10K.
like yeah, around 10,000.
Yeah.
9,000, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's a pretty big
And how much
fall off.
down to our team here?
We are at
Like 13,000.
Yep.
26.
Okay.
Yeah, 13,000. Yep.
So I would, with that team though, if it would get it done, I would be totally fine making the Kenneth Walker for our first move, because I think that's a deal that makes sense for them, and the fact that their running backs are okay, but they could really use another starting caliber running back. That's the move that I would be interested in potentially doing.
Do you think you can get more? Because like
not if it's our pick, because they're assuming this is, if you're trading for your pick back, they're assuming it's now about to be a top 3 pick.
Sure. Like I know the value here is a first, not a high first. So I know there's a big difference in the like point value on here, because it's not projecting like order for 2026. Right. But like in an abstract, if I have a lot of Kenneth Walker shares, and maybe I'm a little bit of a rose-colored glasses guy for him, but I feel like if I'm getting rid of him, I'm not like, unless I think I'm getting an early first, it's not even a question with 1 first for me. So
really, that's interesting, because I'm the opposite. If I could get a first for Kenneth Walker right now, I would be very happy to do so. Because of the injury history, because of Zach Charbonnet, the offense could be really good. It might not be. It's a new quarterback. There's just a lot of moving pieces there that I think Walker's as risky as a first right now. And so I just rather reset at age.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's where the trades happen, right? Because like if you had him, like he's a guy I'm trying to target because his value is depressed. But if I have him, I'm not trying to sell him at sell shares at the current value. So maybe I'm just it probably would mean I wouldn't be getting rid of much Kenneth Walker. If
Sure.
I'm a little higher than what it seems like, because I think when you put it that way, it's a fair argument to make. I just think that, like, going into last year, he was probably what, 2 firsts?
Probably a first and a second. I
Okay.
think it would have been hard to get 2 firsts for him, but probably a first and a second.
I just, like, I guess the risk you're pointing out is, like, I'm more concerned about the injury history than the Charbonnet threat, because Charbonnet's been there for a bit, and Walker, when healthy, seems to very much be the preferred option. But to me, it's, I don't know. I think that, like, it's not a non-zero chance that Charbonnet eats enough of his, like, workload to make him not, like a low end running back 2 rather than a like low end running back 1, which is where I think he was, like, trending prior to this last season.
He's a tough one too, because in the same offense last year, now granted they're getting a new offense, so that's where all this is weird. But it was roughly, this is off the top of my head, I believe 4.5 yards per carry for Charbonnet versus 3.8 for Kenneth Walker. So, like, even when he was playing, he wasn't that efficient. So I am worried about an asset like this completely falling off at running back. So we'll see. But Berg, absolutely, we do take Dynasty related questions. What you're seeing right now is a roster rescue. You could scan the QR code to get a whole roster rescued, or if you just put any super chat question in the chat, we'll make sure to get it. So just let us know on that. Pete, anything else with this one before we move on?
I think you guys nailed it. I am setting up the next one. It's Kevin's.
Kevin.
Good old Kevin. It is a 1 point per first down, 0.5 PPR, and it's 1 quarterback.
All right, 1 QB league here, 10-teamer. We are right in the middle of the pack, Dynasty mode rise. Right now, JJ McCarthy, Tua, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. So we've technically got 4 starters at the moment at the quarterback position. Running backs, RJ Harvey, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, James Conner, Devin Neal. At wide receiver, this is the crux of our team here. This is the core. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Kyle Williams. And then we've got George Kittle and Jonnu Smith at tight end. Draft pick wise, we have all of our assets except our 26 second. So looking at this team right now, I think it's pretty clear. Oh, actually, real quick, where are we at in contender mode? That's what I thought.
Yep.
I thought we were going to be right towards the top. That wide receiver core is just absolute sexiness. So we are starting. How many players is it? 3 running backs.
It says 9.
It's start 9. Yep.
Okay. So in a 10-team league, there's still quite a bit of guys available to start 9 players. So there's a lot out there. For me right now, I look at my quarterback situation in a 1 QB. I'm going to let this play out. I'm not going to mess with this right now. If the right deal comes available for the right player, cool. But we have a lot of upside players in this quarterback room that I want to let this play out and make sure that I don't have a quarterback before I overpay for somebody. Now I have my 5th starting quarterback. So I'm content to let that ride. I look at my wide receiver room knowing that I'm going to have the best room every single week, bar none. I look at my tight end situation. I know George Kittle is going to compete, and Jonnu Smith is a good asset as well. So I'm saying, what do I have to do at running back to really secure me as the top guy? And right now, I'm taking that 26 first, and I'm figuring out a way to get myself a legitimate RB1. So I want to take a look at some of these lower tier teams. Here's a great one right here. This team right now is second to last in contender. Now, 10 teams are tough because everybody kind of thinks they're a contender in a 10-team league. So these sometimes can be harder to make deals in. But right now, I'm looking at this team and saying, what do I need to do to get a running back off of this roster? because
he's starting Christian Kirk, though. He can't feel that good about his roster.
it's true. And he's starting Tyrone Tracy. So right now he's not in like an amazing spot. Josh Jacobs is on the lower end of guys that I would be excited about, but we also don't have crazy draft capital to go get somebody. So I would look at a Josh Jacobs as a guy that I would target with my 26 first. Tristan, do you think that would get done? Do you think a 26 first would be enough to get Josh Jacobs, or are you going to have to add a sweetener to get it done?
I don't think it'll be enough. If I'm like, the only thing you've got working for yourself in this situation is that Josh Jacobs is on the 9th contender team. So you can, I think it was 9th at least, that you can try to pitch the like, hey, he's not going to help you win. But I don't think that, aside from that, I don't think that I would trade a late first for Josh Jacobs. If I'm the Josh Jacobs side, right? Like this.
Yeah. So you might have to give a little extra. You might have to
yeah, but I absolutely am trying to get a running back with that pick, like, or something with those, like that pick plus to get, get somebody. I'd be more inclined to try to do it for one of the younger running backs, even if it's like you're not getting the proven aspect of it, but you're helping your team both now and in the future. I think better, and I don't know
if you can, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
The tricky part is those guys are going to say, I just used the 3rd pick on
Right.
Travion Henderson, or I just used the 6th pick on Quinshon Judkins. Why would I move to next year's draft? And then it's a later pick too. So I don't even think a sweetener would get it done. I bet they're asking for 2 firsts.
Would you be targeting like Caleb Johnson, like someone like that? Or are you talking about the
I want to
top
win.
4?
I want to win. So I think for me now, like if this team doesn't think they're the contender, which I'm guessing they believe they are if they have Saquon and Bijan, I know that they're struggling elsewhere, but like if I can get Saquon, sure, you can have my 1st and 2nd, but they're built to win this year. They're an older team, so I don't think you're getting them. I think Josh Jacobs is realistically one of your best bets that you're going to be able to get. You could try for Achane on this team.
I'd go for like
this one's a kind of
like
built
Swift
like
and
they're an older
Sutton
team
or something for. I don't know if you could get them both for a first, but
we don't need depth though. Like that's not going to help us. Like
I guess
we need a
only
running
starting
back.
9. I don't know.
I mean,
it's tough.
This running back room's not bad.
Right.
With starting 9 and Kamara, Connor, Harvey, and then ETN.
And that's the thing. Like but in a 10-team
Hunter.
league,
True.
I don't think any of those players are projected to be our RB1 this year. So even if it's something where like I have to package a player and the pick to give me that upgrade that I want, like if they want 26 first and RJ Harvey to get Saquon Barkley, okay, I'm doing that because look where I'm at. I am right on the cusp of winning this year. And part of the reason that the other team is ahead of us is just they have a little bit better tight end situation, but that's really it. And who's their tight end? It's got to be Bowers, right?
Ours or
no, theirs, the first team.
Oh yeah,
Bowers. They've got Brock Bowers and
Trey McBride.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. They're not starting both of those guys on most weeks, and even if they are, okay, you can start a 13 to 14 point tight end. That's fine, but like, I would rather start a receiver if it's not tight end premium in that same spot.
And
so
I'm not worried about this team at all. Honestly,
I don't think they're that great.
It's the double tight ends that's kind of
it's inflating the value there.
I was going to suggest
Chuba, David, CMC. That's not a. What are you saying, Tristan? Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to suggest trying to find which team had CMC and offer your first and plus a little as a riskier move if you want to go that. But you're not going to be able to do it with this team having him. Like that's. But I don't know if there's another player like that. Like I would pick, or if you can move your first and Harvey for one of the other top guys, absolutely, like sign me up every opportunity because you're going to get like, 20, like you probably couldn't do it for like, you'd have to add another first, I would guess, for like Gibbs or something.
Yeah,
but
probably.
if you could get somewhere in that like top 5 running back range and not have to give up anything more than Harvey and a first and maybe a throw in, like that's a move that like Harvey, it could hurt you in the long run if Harvey ends up kind of blossoming into what people want him to be. But if he doesn't, or if he takes a few years, you could win a championship or two. And then it doesn't really matter if Harvey turns into a high end value because you won some titles.
Go back to our team again real quick. I want to see it all again. Refresh my memory. All right. So Alvin Kamara, James Conner, RJ Harvey, like it's a good room. You just really want that running back one in shallower leagues with shallower starting positions. The star power is the difference maker. Like you need those guys. You have that at receiver. We have that at tight end. We'll see about quarterback, hit and miss. If the right trade presents itself, like I said, I'm open to it. Like I'm not like, is there a team with 2 quarterbacks that are both really good, that are especially like one of the lower end ones? Burrow and Goff, no.
That would be
Allen. I mean, if you can
it's
get
May
Allen,
Love. Yeah, let's see. Herbert.
If I could get Lamar from that team, like what team is that overall? Wizard of Boz.
Let's see.
Okay, they're the 8th. Oh, 6th. Okay. If I could get done, because that's the thing I need. Like I need difference makers. So if I'm not able to get a running back deal done, just say nobody's interested in dealing with me. They want to keep their running backs. They think they're contending. I'm talking to this team and saying, look, you've got plenty of quarterbacks. If I give you, who's our best quarterback?
JJ McCarthy, I think. Oh,
no.
no.
Right, I'll give
Tua.
Pick
matters who you talk to, but yeah.
Pick your quarterback, whoever you want. Like this would be one of those rare scenarios where, since he is a top 3 quarterback, and that's what I'm looking for, is I need difference makers. I would be willing to give JJ McCarthy and my first for Lamar Jackson plus something. I want a little bit back.
Would you want to do a package for Breece Hall too?
If I could. If I could. I don't know if he's the difference maker at running back at this point. That's the trickier part. Okay. Is I might have to pay a little bit to I don't know what I'm getting.
I don't think he's a proven different or a perceived difference maker, but I think he's the type of running back that could win you the league because you won't have to overpay, but he could get back to a difference maker. Like I know we talked about Hall a few times on different shows. Like I'm a bigger fan in the short term, I think, than you are, but those are the type of like borderline moves that can win you the league if they go the right way.
What about this? RJ Harvey, a first, and JJ McCarthy for Lamar and Breece Hall.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I think that might get it done.
I don't know that's tough. Do you
think that's too much or not enough?
I don't think it's enough. But I don't play in a lot of 1 QB leagues, so the Lamar
getting a first for a quarterback is very tempting.
Right. That's the part where I'm trying to say like it might do it. It doesn't hurt to offer, right? Like I'm considering it. So would
you be like throwing in like Kyle Williams or something, try to get that rookie hype a little bit?
I mean, if Kyle Williams is the difference in the trade,
we have multiple extra seconds as well. No, we don't. That was the last one. But I'd give my 27-second or 28-second to get it done.
Yeah. If you can make it further out, I would always do the later one. But yeah, I wouldn't let that. I would trade a second for sure for that, whichever one they wanted, if it mattered to them. It's just
okay.
Yeah, I just think
it's hard. It's so subjective.
I'm in a few as well, and it's tough because there's some leagues where guys don't value the quarterbacks at all, and there's some where they still value them borderline close to what you would value super flex league quarterback. So
especially the top guys.
Right. So that's the tricky part. But I think the first makes it interesting. RJ Harvey makes it interesting. Getting a young quarterback like JJ McCarthy back makes it interesting. So what little thing you got to sprinkle on to get it done, I'd be open to.
Yeah, I'd at least see what they would like. I don't think it would get it done, but I think that it might be close enough to say, like, what would I have to add? And if it wasn't another first, I'd probably be willing to do it.
And if the Breece Hall, RJ Harvey part messes it up, okay, just the first and JJ McCarthy for Lamar Jackson. And then
I think that's not a bad, like, because to your point, having a difference maker, like, granted, none of his 4 quarterbacks were particularly like high end guys, right? Like Tua was prior to all of the concussions 2 years ago, like, but none of them are. You don't know which one to start every week. If you can get Lamar Jackson, you're starting him every week, and I think that can be worth, could be worth it. It may not be to him, but yeah.
All right,
awesome.
On to the next.
Yes, I am refreshing the page.
Now, is this
Spencer's
the same David,
stash.
or is this a different David than what we had before?
I believe this is a different David.
Another one.
It's the episode of the Davids. We usually get Zach's, a lot of Zach's. What's another one?
Kyle's.
There's Kyle. I feel
there was another name that we've had like repeat like several times. I'm trying to remember what one it is.
I wish
probably Garrett. I heard they need a lot of help.
They do. I do. Everybody wants to be a Garrett. Though.
Garrett's don't spend a lot of money, so
they are. They're penny pinchers.
Okay, sorry. There we go.
They're strategic with their investments. Nothing wrong with that.
There we go.
They hold on to Saquon Barkley for a long time.
That's right.
And worked out for you.
It did. All right. We have the number 1 ranked team here, David. Well done.
This guy wrote a novel.
He did.
The additional info. I love it.
All right. Give us the Reader's Digest version once I'm done with this, Pete. Yeah. So I've got Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, Anthony Richardson in the Superflex tight end premium league. Running back, we're a little more shallow here. So we've got Devon Achane, then Jalen Warren, Jonathan Brooks. Wide receiver, we've got Malik Neighbors, Ladd McConkey, Drake London, Romo Dunze, Ricky Pearsall, Michael Pittman Jr. Then tight ends, both Sam Laporta and Trey McBride on this team. Picks, though, look at this. Ooh. The 101, the 105, and the 109, along with multiple firsts in 2027. So this team says, hey, I am ready to win a ship. I just need an Ashton Genty to do it. And here we are. So right now this team is far and away in first place in Dynasty value, but contender value, we're still got a little ways to go, but that will look very different once those picks don't have a 0 value anymore. So
once he drafts, it's going to look like a Bragg roster.
Absolutely. So real quick before I turn it over to Tristan for a second here, Pete, give us the Reader's Digest on what is the thing that we need to accomplish with this team.
So I think he has a very good handle on what people can get kind of caught up with when you have a bunch of assets. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to start most of them, right? So he has a bunch of picks. He has a lot of nice players. But right now, for example, he has a deal for 105, 109, and my 2027 first, and Odunze for Bowers, Gibbs, and Higgins.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Yes.
I smashed that trade.
That is an incredible value. Honestly, if it was in a Superflex tight end premium, if it was Odunze 105, 109 in a 27 first for Bowers and Higgins, it would be close. It would be close.
Or if it was for Gibbs and Higgins, I think you're getting a free player You're getting
Yes.
not quite
A free
Gibbs
first
or
rounder.
Bauer. Right. Like, to me, I was reading part of the novel while you were going through the team as well, and there's some smaller pieces of it. I think there was a 105 and 109 for Gibbs, which I would take that as well. But if you can do something that gets you Bowers, Gibbs, and Higgins for that offer, like, sign me up. I
10 out of 10.
I wouldn't send it as fast as I possibly could, because I'd be afraid that he would, think there was a reason why and then change his mind. So I might be like, yeah, why don't you send it over? And then as soon as they send it, hit accept. And run to the bank with it.
So let's assume that happens. So now we have at our running back position, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, we have Devon Achane, and we have Ashton Genty. So we're looking at 3 top 7 to 8 running backs in dynasty value. Depending on where you have Achane, some might have them as high as 5. But you definitely have Gibbs and Genty inside the top 3 or 4 there. Now what I'm looking to do, though, is this is a super flex tight end premium league. I now have Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and Sam Laporta. I do not need all of those tight end assets. And right now, Trey McBride is still going to net me a very, very nice return. So looking at my wide receiver room, I added Higgins to it. But what else do we have here?
I am curious if it's T or Jaden Higgins. It has to be T, because they haven't drafted yet. Never mind.
Oh yeah, it would have to be T.
Also, side note, the person who has Bowers loves Sam Laporta.
Okay.
So that would also be a potential trade candidate.
Okay. What
in addition to
what wide receivers do they have?
Let's see. Yeah, this is the team. So Brock Bowers.
Yep.
Man, after you clean out this team, though, I mean,
they're not going to have anything you want.
They're going to be annoyed at you for the next 3 years.
Go to our team for a moment, and then down to the wide receivers. So my reason I'm asking this question, Garrett, in a tight end premium league, wouldn't you just roll out all 3 tight ends every week and make the rest of the league hurt at tight end?
Potentially. Definitely 2 you could. I don't know about Laporta.
Because you've got, I don't know how many, does it say how many we start somewhere? Because I didn't see that. 10.
Yep.
So you have these, you probably are starting those top 3 receivers. Right? You're starting your top 3 tight ends just to see if we can make it work. So we've got 6 there. And then you're probably starting 2 quarterbacks. I don't remember who we have.
Yeah. You're starting
Kyler
and you're starting Achane and Gibbs every week. And
so you're sitting Ashton Genty?
Oh, yeah. I'm probably sitting like one of the wide receivers that has the worst matchup then.
So all that being said, like,
I forgot about the 101. That's my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So that's the thing. Like, I'm fine. Like, and especially because I want to insulate myself on a playoff run. If Bowers gets hurt, like, I want another guy. So that way I'm good. But to have all 3, I think is unnecessary. And look, if I can get good value for Sam Laporta, I'd love to move Sam Laporta. But if Trey McBride is the piece to get me one more elite receiver, then I'm interested in that as well. Because in a tight end premium, now he'll go from probably 13 points a game, 14 points a game to like 18 points a game, which is really good. But elite receivers are going to get you 20, 21 points a game. So those guys would still have a little bit more value. So it depends on what I'm getting. If I'm getting similar value for Trey McBride and Sam Laporta, then I'm dealing Sam Laporta because I value Trey McBride significantly higher, significantly safer than Sam Laporta. I see them as completely different tiers. But that's kind of the next move then for me is I'm actively pursuing that. And I'm either upgrading my receiver, like I said, to get me an elite guy. So whether I package Sam Laporta and a receiver to upgrade a little bit, or I'm even open to looking at my quarterback position. I like Jordan Love. I like, what is it, Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray, or who's the other one?
On our team, we
Kyler
have
Murray. Like, I like both of those guys, but does Sam Laporta and Kyler Murray get me Joe Burrow? Like those kinds of things.
Yeah, I
this
don't.
this team
I
has
don't
Jake
hate-
Ferguson as tight end.
I
Yes,
don't
Lamar.
hate that idea. I just think that, like, if you have three of the top 5 tight ends, I like, you are preventing other teams from having them and making them start worse players. So unless I'm getting a top 3-ish wide receiver back, I don't think that I'm interested in moving one of my tight ends until, I'd rather have the insulated tight end that I can make sure I have at least one starting top tier tight end through injury, but also having 11 guys you want to start in a 10-team league is a good problem to have. And I would
hear
rather,
you, but every week in, week out, we have to start another quarterback. Like we have to start 2, or we're just missing out. So
right. So you're going to be,
one team would take Laporta from us, and they get a little bump then. But every week I have to play with an additional quarterback. So for me, at this point, I'm not worrying about trying to box out the rest of my league. As long as my team gets better, that's all I care about.
I just think that you have the benefit of being selective in how you go about moving them. I'm not opposed to moving them, but I would only be doing it where I think that I'm getting a guy that I'm always plugging in my roster over every other player I have in my starting lineup already. Because otherwise you're just moving the position that you're making your decision on. If you go Laporta and a quarterback to get another quarterback, I get the value there because you're making a step up at quarterback. Mm-hmm. But then you still only really have 2 surefire starters, and then, questions with Penix and Richardson. So, I don't know that you're doing a lot to up your chances by moving from an elite tight end producer to another position that either quarterback or wide receiver that you're still going to kind of be I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather have I'd rather trade Laporta for a quarterback on his own, or maybe at a pick, and then have Jordan Love be my 3rd quarterback. I like that more.
But how are you getting your starting lineup better, though? Your starting lineup's not any better there. I think that's where we strongly disagree on this one. I'm trying to win a ship. I'm not just trying to have the deepest team.
Right,
I'm trying to win a ship.
Laporta and your first, you're getting a better quarterback than Jordan Love, and you're helping your starting lineup, right?
Who are you going to get? I don't think you're getting
Lamar
somebody that
Jackson
much better than. You're not getting Lamar Jackson
for Laporta and a first in a Superflex tight end premium.
There is no way.
I don't maybe you don't get Lamar, but I think you could get a better quarterback than Jordan Love for Sam Laporta or Trey McBride and a first. 100% you could get a better quarterback than Jordan Love.
Maybe slightly, but in a tight end premium, you're getting, maybe you can move up to, but see, all these guys are still up in the air players too. Maybe you can get to Herbert. Maybe you can get to Baker. Maybe
we
you
just
can
have
get
very
to,
different views on where quarterbacks. I think you could get to a top 5 quarterback with that. Or if you added
I'll tell you this: if you offered me Sam Laporta and a first for Lamar Jackson, I would be insulted. You wouldn't even get a counter from me.
So
you're looking at a top 3 overall draft pick.
9,700 value for Jackson, right? And Laporta was 6 something, wasn't he?
I don't.
Or maybe that was
What's
McBride I was
value,
thinking of.
Sorry,
Okay,
I
so
kind of zoned
McBride.
out
You're looking at
when
McBride.
parents fight.
And that's also dynasty value
Gotcha.
or contender value, not dynasty. You switch to dynasty.
Okay, so we got Laporta for 4,000, and then what's the other one that you want? Lamar.
So first you're going to be at
3,000?
like
First is gonna
3,000
be
ish.
1,800, or if
Well,
unless we're talking like those
The
first,
middle
but
of the
future
first,
Future
middle of the
first.
first is about 3,000.
Let's just call it 220. Let's say it's even
So
2,500.
6,500.
That's still only 6,500 versus Lamar Jackson is what 9K plus.
Let's look.
Oh yeah.
Lamar's
Nine-
97.
Yeah.
So then,
9,700.
how much was Michael Penix worth on our team?
26.
I would do that. Penix, like Laporta and a first, or if Trey McBride was worth more, I would do whichever one the person valued more for a player like a quarterback like that. Because
I'm
like,
fine with that. I have no issue with that. Because that's what I've been saying the whole time. Like, I want to upgrade my quarterback position.
yeah, I'm with you
So,
on that.
yeah,
I
I would
guess
have no
I
problem
just
with
think that the only reason I'm getting rid of one of those one of those three tight ends, if you're assuming you're making that move for Bowers, is to make that big of a splash at quarterback. And I'm doing it by hurting the least amount of my starting lineup as I can. Because if you have Jordan Love as your third quarterback and you have a better starting quarterback than you had, like, I like that move a lot more than going like, now I'm starting Kyler and Lamar Jackson, but I still only have Michael Penix as my third QB. That still is like,
I guess I'm not as worried
Yeah,
about Michael
that's
Penix
probably
as my
fair.
third QB because I'm not expecting to start him. I think he's a more than adequate third.
But on another note, though, this dude still has 27 firsts.
Well, he's getting rid
After-
of one of them, right? Or is
Yep.
that with
He
that?
has 327 firsts. So if he gets rid of
Gotcha.
one of them, so he, like, no matter what, this roster's set, especially with that trade. Get that trade
He's gonna be
done,
golden.
and then like, obviously the quarterback makes a lot of sense to upgrade here, and you have a lot with tight end. So if you need to give up quarterback,
And I'm in the same boat at receiver, like the same
Yeah.
type of concept at wide receiver. Like, I don't even think we need it as much here, but if it's Romo Dunze plus Sam Laporta gets me I'm trying to think who that would get me.
is that Puka or CD?
That would probably
Some between that
probably
tier?
Puka. That's probably the right range. Somewhere in there. Like, I would be open to that
Yeah.
kind of move as well.
Yeah, I think that it, like, depending on how much of their future they want to mortgage, they could also really just go for the top at every position and trade those 27 firsts and say, like, yeah, I won't have a first round pick for a couple of years, but I might not be able to have a guy crack my lineup anyway for 2 years. So why do I need to have the picks?
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird thing to have because as soon as the rookie drafts come around, you obviously are like, man, I wish I had this pick, right? Like, I do it every year in every one of my leagues. I trade a ton of my picks, and then I'm like, I wish I hadn't done this because I just want more rookies. But if you can make your team so good that you're struggling to find, like, the ceiling of a pick is going to crack
Where
your
you would even
lineup,
play them.
it doesn't matter if you don't have picks for a few years. You're just going to be like, cool, season's over. I'll see you guys at week 1 and my team will still be better. And, like, I don't hate that approach either. Like, holding on to picks in 26 and 27 simply so that you have them doesn't do you a lot of favors if the guys aren't going to crack your lineup.
All right, let's head to our final roster rescue here.
Madison Dynasty League.
Nice. All right, Madison.
Ben,
we have
actually.
a super flex.
But
Ben in the Madison
Ben,
League.
you lie. Ben from the Billy Madison League. All right. We've got the 6th rated Dynasty team here with a JJ McCarthy, Dak Prescott, Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Running back, we've got Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Tyjae Spears, Jordan Mason. At wide receiver, we've got CeeDee Lamb, Ladd McConkey, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Jack Bech, Michael Pittman, and Mike Evans. Tight end wise, we're looking at Dalton Kincaid, David Njoku, and Jonnu Smith. We have given up all of our assets in 26 and in 27 to put our team where it's at. So currently 6 dynasty mode, but in contender
picks.
mode.
They're on MFL, so
Wow,
they can go a long way out.
That's crazy. Contender mode, we are in 4th place. So Tristan, I've taken the lead on a lot of these. I've let you take off your training wheels now. Take it away. How would you start with this?
So I think in the little extra additional notes, he talked about, like, he lost in the semifinals the last 2 years, which makes sense if his team is 4th in dynasty mode. But I'm looking at those running backs, and you either have to decide if you're going to hold on and try to make one more push, or kind of begin the blow up now, because Mixon and Kamara are not getting any younger. Prescott's not getting any younger. Can you scroll down a little bit, Pete?
Yep.
Yeah,
even Barkley's an older
He's
asset.
like at least holding on to his value. Go down to receivers, actually, all the way down. Evans, not getting any younger. So if it were me, you can go down to tight end too. But even really Njoku and Smith, like, not that they're old, but you don't have a ton of youth and you don't have a ton of picks. So I am just going for it as much as I can for this year and next year. There's not a lot of I think it was only start 8. So you don't have a lot of opportunity to make moves without picks that are going to also help you contend. So I might be looking to see if I can like take a couple of my running backs, or one of my better running backs, and turn them into like a slightly younger one that I think is going to be a comparable production value, or you kind of like, I hate to say just kind of hold, but there's not a lot of, this is a top heavy team the way I see it at a lot of positions. And so when you're that kind of top heavy and you don't have the picks to move, like, I don't see a lot of value in trying to trade away your players for picks because you don't have picks already. So you're not going to be, you're going to be trying to trade for your picks back, and then you're going to have a bad team with only a standard amount of picks. So like, I don't know. You could try to trade a Kamara because he's on a team that's going to probably be struggling, and you could try to turn him into a younger running back if you're trying to get a little younger. You could try to turn him into a wide receiver. There's only so many options here that I'm not really sure that there isn't a better thing to do than just kind of see how the season starts out and then assess from there. What do you think, Garrett?
Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where you made your bed and you're gonna kind of have to lie in it, because unfortunately, the only trade you're gonna really be able to make. Mm-hmm. Can you go back up to quarterback real quick? So, like, right now you have 3 quarterbacks. What I would say is, and you might even have 4, depending on what happens with Anthony Richardson. I might flip the coin and gamble, or roll the dice and gamble, or however you want to say it, and say, like, I'm going to gamble that I can have 2 quarterbacks that can stay healthy all year. And if that's the case, do I move Anthony Richardson? Do I move Aaron Rodgers? Do I move somebody? Even Dak Prescott, potentially. I doubt it. But do I move one of those if there's another position that I'm wanting to feel a little bit better about, or upgrade slightly, and just kind of gamble that, hey, I'm not going to have the quarterback depth that I had. Oh, well. Because you see that happen like on underdog best ball teams sometimes, where people will just kind of play the odds, say like, hey, I got 2 quarterbacks. I'm going to gamble that they're going to be healthy all season because I have to upgrade somewhere else in order to potentially have the best starting lineup. So you could potentially look at that. The problem is none of those other quarterbacks at this point, other than Prescott or McCarthy, are going to get you much. And McCarthy, you're probably going to want down the road. And Dak, you're going to need to compete this year. So that's where this gets a little bit tricky. Go back down to our receivers.
So I have a thought on like just looking at it a little more. Like if I could turn Kamara or Mixon into my 27 first to get that back. I don't know that you could.
I would love that.
You might have to throw in like a Mike Evans. That might be more. You might be able to get a first and maybe a little more back pick wise. I don't think that it's worthwhile trying to get 26 picks back because your team is good enough to make it an early or a good finish, a late pick in 26. But 27 might end up being an early pick. And we like that class. Well, personally, I think you are the same way, Garrett. We like the 27 class notably more. So if you can turn a guy that's probably going to be either off your roster or like significantly worse in production into your own pick that therefore might end up being an even earlier 27 first. Like if there's a move to make, that's probably the one I'm going for. I do agree. You kind of just have to lie in the bed that you made. And like, you might like hope for the playoffs, hope for, health and a run and maybe some prize money. And then next year might just hurt a lot. But if you have gotten your 27 first back, like,
who has our picks right now? Is it the same team that has both, or are they 2 different teams?
Why isn't letting me?
It's in Dynasty or Contender.
That's why. Thank you. So, what's our name?
We're Sticky Voodoo, I believe. So this.
Okay, so 26.
Has our 26 first, not our 27.
And then this team. Let's see.
Miles Garrett in the helmet of doom.
First.
That's a funny name.
Yeah, they're last place. They're not giving up.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
And then what was the other one? Mafia.
Honestly, if we can't get our 26 or 27 pick back,
I think
it's not even worth going after
I
our
agree.
26.
I think you just like let the season start. If for some reason your team is looking good, you might I think that what you said earlier, Garrett, might make sense is maybe try to take like one of the quarterbacks and that is playing well and move them if there's anything like at all that you can get back for them but otherwise you're just basically playing for this year and hoping that Kamara and Mixon and Evans play next year too. And if they do, you might luck out in the like draft lottery.
Mixon would be a name. That I would be really interested in because right now his value is a little bit depressed with the Nick Chubb news. I don't think it really affects him that much, honestly. And it's coming from a guy that's been a very big Nick Chubb fan. But I don't think it really affects him much, to be honest. But right now, it's going to affect his value. If somebody's trying to trade him away or trade for him, you're not going to get what you got 2 weeks ago simply because of that news. However, I think a week or 2 into the season, we see that he's looking good. One of these running backs starts slow. One of these rookies start a little bit slow. And then maybe you can slowly kind of start that process of, hey, I still believe in Caleb Johnson. He didn't get as many touches the first 2 weeks as we thought he would. Mixon had a 25-point game in week 2. Maybe I can, move off of Joe Mixon to a contender to get me.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea. I mean, I think you're just going to end up like you're going to be thin for a couple of years, and you're going to hope that these guys hang on for a couple of years. But any chance you have to kind of trade, even if it's a slight tick in production for, 7 years of youth, like take it while you can, and then, hang on, and then don't trade any more future firsts. As somebody that it chronically does it, I know how the struggle goes. But yeah, like I think that's really the best approach here, and just try to contend as much as you can without paying any future picks, because you don't have your picks, so it doesn't hurt you to finish in the middle, right? Like that's the only good news, is that it's not hurting you to hang on, because you're not making your own picks worse for yourself. But having said that, if you get an opportunity to get like a good value on a younger player or a future pick that isn't going to make your team notably worse, I would go for it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Had a great time. Tristan, thank you for hopping in today, filling in when Rich had to go get his kid from football. Had a great time chopping it up. One of our longer shows that we've done overall. Pete, anything you need to tell the good folks before
join
we get
Fast
out of here?
Draft, get access to the tools that we use promo code NERDS, and use the QR code. Have a great day.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh, I need to hit the